Chapter 316, Judging from her suggested price, she's genuine. Chapter 316, Judging from her suggested price, she's genuine. Chen Zhao didn't go out today. He just lay on the yellow duck in the pool, basking in the sun. Obito's slowly moved to the side of the pool. Ada, my father said that he's ready. He'll summon you to hell at midnight tonight. Okay. Just then, a figure appeared at the edge of the pool. Chen Zhao opened his eyes to see Norman's. How did you get in? Chen Zhao glanced at her. He didn't think Norman's would come here. Your door is unlocked, Norman's replied. You're not busy? Not really. Chen Zhao lay on the yellow duck, moving with the waves. What do you need? Evely wants to hire you to be her swim coach. No, Chen Zhao rejected without even thinking. He was pissed just thinking about how Evely had led a group of students to block him last time. She'll pay, Norman said. I won't go even if she pays. $200,000, Norman's added. How long? Norman's knew that Chen Zhao cared more about money than his life. Before, he still refused to be Evely's coach. After hearing the price, he changed immediately. Can't you be a bit more reserved? From her suggested price, I can see that she's genuine, Chen Zhao said matter-of-factly. I never reject a genuine person. Can you toss me the can of beer? Norman's hurled the beer at Chen Zhao, who caught it accurately with one hand. 10 days, Norman's said. I'll accept this request, Chen Zhao said happily. She has a special request. I won't sell my body. Norman's rolled her eyes and looked at Chen Zhao. You like joking around to take advantage of people? Fine, what's her special request? She wants to see an obvious improvement in her swimming speed. I can't promise that, Chen Zhao said. Why not? Increasing 1 second is an improvement, increasing 0.1 seconds is also an improvement. Everyone's state is different and their abilities are different too. Maybe I'm training her well, but she suddenly gets her period during a meet and turns the pool into a bloody battleground. Will she blame me for that? Norman's was speechless. So you don't want to accept this job? No, I will. Why won't I? Didn't you say that you can't promise her performance? As long as she cooperates with my training, following my every order, then I'll accept it. I can promise that. She'll cooperate fully with your training. No disobeying at all. She won't disobey any of your orders. She'll eat whatever I tell her to eat. Yes, Norman said quickly. You can answer for her. Of course. She entrusted me, so I have the power to decide for her. Also, there can only be 4 hours of training per day. You're getting paid $200,000, and it's only 10 days, and you're only going to train for 4 hours. Think about your weight loss days. How much did your father pay me and how many hours did you train for? Norman's thought back to those miserable days. Chen Zhao's training was completely random and went with his feelings. Sometimes, it was longer. Other times, shorter. If he was in a bad mood, he'd add more training and let out his anger on her. If he was in a good mood, he'd add more training. Torturing Norman's made him happy. If he was in an okay mood, he'd reduce the training for no reason. So, Norman's knew that this guy did whatever he wanted without caring about others' feelings. What if I want to train too? Will you pay? What if I say no? Then just go play by yourself, Chen Zhao rejected heartlessly. Norman's gritted her teeth. I'm your old client. Can it be cheaper? What price do you have in mind? $100,000. What do you think? Sure, Chen Zhao accepted without hesitation. Training one person was training. Training two was also training. There was no reason why he would miss out on $100,000. Can we start tomorrow? No, I won't be here the entire day. When are you free? I'll call you when I'm free. Norman's was pissed, but she couldn't do anything. Chen Zhao was stubborn. If she complained, Chen Zhao would probably just leave. When will you pay me? After the training. Pay me half right now. You don't trust me? I do, but I don't trust Evely. Norman's chuckled. Fine. You can go now. You're kicking me out. Norman's was taken aback. Am I not clear enough? Chen Zhao asked naturally. Why? I brought you 2 big jobs. You should at least treat me to lunch. This isn't too much, right? I have a girlfriend. I won't eat in my house alone with another woman. Normans was angered and she glared at Chen Zhao. No problem. You think I want to stay? Wait. Chen Zhao called out just as Normans was about to leave. Normans was slightly happy. Turning to Chen Zhao, she asked, "What? Are you regret? When you leave, please close the door for me." Normans was even angrier now. I can't be bothered. Go die. What a beautiful day. Chen Zhao stretched. After Normans left, Chen Zhao didn't keep being lazy either. He didn't have work today, but he still had to make lunch for the various beasts in his house. He prepared the food. Princess's family could eat most of what the demons ate. Brown bears had complicated diets. They could eat meat, fruit, and even honey. However, they couldn't eat everything. For example, dragon meat was only for demons with demonic bloodlines, so it had to be separated. Just as Chen Zhao was about to continue being lazy, he heard a pained cry. He ran in and saw Princess wailing. What's wrong? What happened? Chen Zhao asked anxiously. Master, Princess stole my dragon meat, White Ma said, feeling wronged. Princess seemed to be in pain, so Chen Zhao hurriedly went to check. He was burned as soon as he touched Princess. Oh no! Chen Zhao took out some potion from his spatial ring. This was the demonic potion that he'd made for Walter. He'd made another serving but never used it. If he didn't pour it down Princess now, she wouldn't be able to withstand the dragon meat. It was toxic to her. Dragon meat contained demonic power. Those without demon blood couldn't withstand the power. Chen Zhao had wanted to have a true pet, but now, he had no choice but to turn Princess into a mixed demon too. Chapter 317, I Don't Want Insurance. Chapter 317, I Don't Want Insurance. After consuming the demonic potion, Princess's howling softened gradually. Slowly, she recovered a bit of strength, but she felt extremely hungry. Princess started to eat. She wolfed down all the dog food, but it was still not enough. Chen Zhao could only take out his own food from the fridge. However, it was still insufficient. After some consideration, Chen Zhao asked Princess to try some wyvern meat. Terribly starved, Princess would obviously not mind it. Moreover, wyvern meat was actually very nice. In Chen Zhao's opinion, it was a delicacy that could not otherwise be obtained in the human world. Very soon, Princess finished a piece of wyvern meat that weighed at least 20 kilograms. However, she continued roaring, still hungry. Chen Zhao had to take out a bigger piece of wyvern meat that weighed 100 kilograms. It was still not enough. Princess's appetite was more than just enormous. Chen Zhao had no choice but to continue satisfying her with food. Finally, after eating 200 kilograms of wyvern meat, Princess stopped. By then, Princess seemed to have become much larger. Just as Chen Zhao had expected, with her new demonic bloodline, Princess's size was going out of control. Princess needed that much food precisely because her body was developing. It seemed that the food Princess had just eaten was now part of her body. Roar. Princess howled and smashed the marble floor with her paw. Fuck. Chen Zhao cursed. You're eating my food and staying at my place, and now you're even destroying my stuff. Princess immediately lowered her head and whimpered, knowing that she was in the wrong. Even she did not expect herself to break the floor tiles with just a casual slap. Princess was probably already more than 700 kilograms. She was a true giant. Go and play outside. Don't come in today. Chen Zhao pulled Princess's hind legs and dragged her out. Just then, he saw a person walk in. Gaia! Why is she here? When Gaia saw Chen Zhao dragging a terrifyingly huge bear with his hands, she was flabbergasted. Gaia was already a dinosaur among humans. However, the bear being dragged by Chen Zhao was a real monster. Does he do this with such monsters every day? That explains his strength. Gaia, why are you here? What's in your hands? Can't you tell? A bear. Are bears that huge? She's a Kodiak brown bear, Chen Zhao replied. After Princess joined his family, Chen Zhao deliberately went online to find out Princess's species. In fact, Princess was just an ordinary brown bear. Chen Zhao had found out that Kodiak bear was the largest species of bears. A Kodiak bear could weigh as heavy as 800 kilograms. They were also the largest carnivorous mammal on land. At the moment, Princess was similar to a Kodiak bear in terms of size. A person would probably not be able to distinguish between the two unless he or she was a bear expert. What happened? She smashed the floor tiles, so I'm chasing her out of the house. Wait. Chen Zhao continued to pull Princess's hind legs. Her claws rubbed against the floor, producing a sharp noise. Fortunately, Princess was not using any force, so the floor was undamaged. Gaia was speechless at the sight. Indeed, only a monster could live with monsters. Normal people probably would not even dare to walk close to such a bear, let alone touch her. Gaia had to admit that she was not brave enough. The bear was too much bigger than her. In the natural world, a sufficiently large size automatically meant absolute power. However, Chen Zhao actually dragged Princess out. He was not scared that the bear might attack him at all. After a while, Chen Zhao walked into the house, rubbing his hands clean. Gaia, sorry to keep you waiting. Gaia stared at Chen Zhao in silence. Unable to take that kind of look, Chen Zhao touched his face. What, is there something on my face? I need you to tell me where Marjorie is. Chen Zhao kept silent. Gaia glared at him with a demanding look. Do you only want to help him but not me? Most of the time, Chen Zhao was willing to help Gaia. However, he could not do it now. He was afraid that Gaia would kill Marjorie after knowing where he was. Chen Zhao could not betray Marjorie on both sentimental and logical grounds. Marjorie and I used to be a couple. Although it was a weird combination, Chen Zhao was unsurprised. He had guessed it from their short conversation in the past. Gaia and Marjorie must have had a relationship before. And then, he abandoned you? Chen Zhao could not control his curiosity. Even Beelzebub, Blackmar, Whitemar, Raymond and Carrie gathered around them, dying to know Gaia's and Marjorie's past. Gaia shook her head. No, we didn't break up. In fact, we even confirmed our marriage date. And then, he left you on the wedding day and ran away himself? Chen Zhao asked excitedly. Gaia widened his eyes at Chen Zhao. No, that didn't happen. Then what happened? Chen Zhao quickly asked. Suddenly, Chen Zhao's phone rang. It was an unrecorded number. However, he knew that it was Marjorie's. Chen Zhao immediately picked it up and shouted, I said I don't want insurance. Don't call me again. Then, he hung up directly. Let's continue the topic. However, the phone rang again. It was still Marjorie. I said I don't want insurance. Can you stop pestering me? Chen, is Gaia beside you? Stop talking nonsense. If you call me again, I'll put you on my blacklist. Give the phone to Gaia. Huh? Gaia saw Chen Zhao's expression and sensed something. Is it Marjorie? Chen Zhao's cheeks twitched but he still passed the phone to Gaia. Hello. Gaia, I'm at West End Forest Park. If you want to kill me, come here, Marjorie said. Gaia, don't be too impulsive. You were a couple. Chen Zhao quickly stopped Gaia. At the same time, he cursed Marjorie silently for his decision. When Marjorie was still healthy, Gaia could already beat him and Chen Zhao together without much effort. Given Marjorie's condition now, Gaia could really beat the shit out of him. Chen Zhao did not know if Marjorie would die, but he would at least be severely injured. Ignoring Chen Zhao, Gaia stood up and left. Chen Zhao chased her. Gaia, please think about it. Maybe you can even resume your relationship. Gaia turned her head and glanced coldly at Chen Zhao. Didn't you want to know why we turned from a couple into enemies? I'll tell you. Chapter 318, Can Still Be Saved. Chapter 318, Can Still Be Saved. He killed my little brother. Ivan really worshipped Marjorie at that time, treating him like an idol. Ivan even joined his gang, but then he disappeared for 3 full years without any explanation. Chen Zhao couldn't reply. If Marjorie caused someone closest to him to die, he would probably react like this too. I'll take you to see Marjorie, Chen Zhao said. West End Forest Park is so big. You might not find him. I'll take you there. Chen Zhao thought that Marjorie was voluntarily coming to repay his debt by contacting Gaia. Even if Chen Zhao didn't lead Gaia, Marjorie would still appear before him. If Gaia really wanted to kill Marjorie, Chen Zhao had to stop her. He couldn't just watch Gaia kill him, right? Gaia didn't refuse. Chen Zhao drove to the West End Forest Park. There'd been 2 rainstorms since the last time he went there, so the ground was all muddy. Just then, he noticed that Gaia had a gun on her hip. Oh no. Gaia was really out for blood. Chen Zhao gulped. As promised, Marjorie appeared before Gaia, standing before a small hill. Gaia, Chen Zhao's eyes were filled with concern. But Gaia didn't plan on wasting time talking to Marjorie. She pulled out her gun. Bang, bang, bang. All 3 bullets buried into Marjorie and he fell to the ground. Gaia turned and left. Chen Zhao rushed to Marjorie. 1 bullet had hit his artery, 1 in his chest, and 1 in his stomach. Marjorie's pupils were already dilated and blood bubbled in his mouth. Chen Zhao hurriedly performed surgery on him, pouring a mouthful of the perfect crystal potion into him. Then he took out acupuncture needles to stop the bleeding. Don't close your eyes. Open them. Open your eyes. Chen Zhao kept slapping Marjorie's face, but the man was already losing consciousness. Chen Zhao tried his best to save Marjorie. He didn't think that Gaia would be so decisive and regretful. Chen Zhao had thought that Gaia would play a game of cat and mouse before. Instead, Gaia had come with the intention to kill Marjorie. There were no other words. It was just cold-blooded murder. Right now, the most troublesome part was that Marjorie's artery was scraped by the bullet. Blood kept spewing out with no restraint. Marjorie was at the brink of death. It was Chen Zhao's first time feeling so panicked. He had to repair the artery, but what could he use? Regular medication obviously wouldn't work. Chen Zhao racked his mind. Various medications flashed past his mind and he rejected them all. Finally, Chen Zhao thought of an ointment. The cohesive ointment was mostly made up of Dement's sticky saliva. Its main function was to repair injured parts. As long as the cohesive ointment was applied to a wound, it would mend the area quickly and have certain functional effects. Put simply, if someone cut his arm off and used the ointment to stick it back on, he could manage to move his arm. The cohesive ointment could temporarily act as a transmitter for the nervous system. The injured would temporarily recover a bit of function. Of course, it wouldn't be complete. Chen Zhao's hands were covered in blood. He applied the cohesive ointment on Marjorie's artery with his bare hands. The scene was too bloody, but he didn't have the time to care about hygiene. Saving Marjorie's life was the most important thing right now. Everything else could come later. Whoosh! Marjorie suddenly let out a long exhale. He rasped out. I'm not dead. Chen Zhao slapped his sticky hand on Marjorie's face. Next time you want to die, call Gaia yourself. Chen Zhao wrapped Marjorie's neck in gauze. The man was very weak right now. Chen Zhao still had to extract the bullet in his chest and stomach. Marjorie looked weakly at him. Gaia knows you can save me. She didn't want to kill me. Bullsh**. Chen Zhao shot back. Barely anyone could save you from your condition just then. She really wanted to kill you. With her aim, she could just shoot my head if she wanted to kill me. Okay, whatever you say. To be honest, Chen Zhao couldn't figure out if Gaia really wanted to kill Marjorie or just get over the knot in her heart. No matter what, Marjorie's life was saved. Take a nap. Chen Zhao gave Marjorie some anesthesia. Marjorie quietly closed his eyes. With Chen Zhao beside him, he could sleep in peace. Chapter 319, Revenge. Chapter 319, Revenge. Chen Zhao turned his head and looked at the window beside him. There was a hole in it. In the rearview mirror, Chen Zhao saw a rider fall onto the ground. Are you mad? Chen Zhao roared. However, just as he was putting all his attention on the left side of the car, another car crashed into them from the right. Gaia quickly held the steering wheel, raised her right hand and fired twice to her right. What happened? What's this? I don't know. Are they here to kill you? Chen Zhao was bewildered. He had never been attacked by a car in such an exciting way. A car was most difficult to control after a side collision. If Gaia did not control the steering wheel, the car would definitely have overturned. I dunno. I don't remember having such enemies, Gaia said. How about Marjorie? Not him, Gaia said. Are you sure they're not here for you? I don't know. Just then, another 2 SUVs appeared behind them and chased his car. Gaia watched Chen Zhao drive and frowned. That's not how you drive a car. You can't keep stepping on the accelerator. Forget it, let me drive. But if you drive, what if they catch up with us? We won't be able to fight back. Shut up and go away. Chen Zhao and Gaia changed their position while driving. Suddenly, Gaia stepped on the brake and quickly turned the steering wheel, positioning the car right behind one of the SUVs. She then stepped on the accelerator and the SUV was overturned. When she drove past the SUV, she fired her gun at the gas tank. Boom. Fuck. Chen Zhao could not help but exclaim. Gaia's move was amazing. In just a few seconds, she destroyed a car. Chen Zhao thought that she might as well become an actress. She was like those secret agents in movies. There was another car. However, instead of chasing Chen Zhao and Gaia, it was being chased at the moment. The 2 cars had roughly the same speed. The other driver also seemed to be stepping on the accelerator all the time. Nevertheless, Chen Zhao was already in the movie mode. With Gaia around, he did not have to worry at all. Gaia fired again, but she shot the tire, not the body of the car. In just one shot, the car before them overturned. Gaia slowly parked the car before the overturned SUV. Just then, someone climbed out of the driver's seat. Mexican? Gaia looked at Chen Zhao. They're here for you. Chen Zhao really did not want to admit it. I'm not an enemy of all Mexicans. How can you be sure? Gaia walked up and stepped onto the man's hand. Who sent you here? Odutra. The man had zero loyalty and betrayed Odutra at once. Gaia shot him in the head. Chen Zhao was stunned by her decisiveness. He couldn't resist anymore. Why did you kill him? Why not? So that he can find you for revenge again? Chen Zhao was speechless. Fine. Odutra must have sent more people to kill me. Is there a way for them to stop? Kill Odutra, Gaia suggested. Are you sure this can solve the problem? Odutra's in prison now. The only thing he can do is to appoint a new leader for his gang. He must have made killing you the prerequisite for taking over the gang. If he dies, his condition will automatically be ineffective. What if there are very loyal people in his gang who must kill me? The Mexican gang isn't that free. Also, you've already killed an entire group, which is a good warning for them. They're not that stupid. Chen Zhao kept silent. Gaia asked, what's your plan? I'm going to Orsk prison, Chen Zhao said. The one Odutra's in? Yes. Don't be impulsive. Killing someone in prison is different from killing someone here. Do I look impulsive to you? Gaia thought about it. Chen Zhao did not even dare to kill someone here. Would he dare to kill someone in prison? The answer was clearly negative. The car stopped before the prison. They passed by cells after cells and arrived at the deepest part of the prison. Odutra was closed in a single-person cell. When the door opened and Chen Zhao walked in, he was clearly surprised. Chinese, why are you here? To kill you. Chen Zhao closed the door. Ha ha. Kill me. Odutra laughed. Do you dare to? Isn't my arrival enough to prove my determination? Odutra's face darkened. He took out a metal stick from the bed. Chen Zhao really doubted the security here. A felony criminal actually hid such a metal stick in his room. Odutra did not dare to be careless. After all, he had seen for himself how strong Chen Zhao was that night. Chen Zhao walked toward Odutra step by step. He had already given up his plan to torture Odutra. He only wanted to kill Odutra as soon as possible. Odutra could feel that Chen Zhao really wanted to kill him. The reason was obvious. His men outside must have already acted. Odutra was clearly happy about this. Nonetheless, He did not expect Chen Zhao to be so impulsive and come to the prison to kill him. Who are the best killers? Doctors, of course. Odutra suddenly struck the metal stick at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao caught the stick with one hand and snapped his fingers with the other. Sleep. Odutra was hypnotized at once. Just then, 3 bugs appeared out of thin air and crawled into Odutra's ear. The 3 bugs were brain-eating insects. They were very weak physically. In hell, they would crawl into the ears of inattentive or sleeping beasts and then devour their brains. Chapter 320 EleMMent Palazzo. Chapter 320 EleMMent Palazzo. Odutra snapped awake. Even though he was under the banshee's charm, the immense pain in his head made him cry out crazily. The brain-eating insect was summoned by magic, so it could be controlled. In other words, Chen Zhao could control it. If it ate all of Odutra's brain, then it would attract attention too easily. But if it only ate a little, but was enough to be fatal, it would be impossible to detect. After all, even a forensic scientist wouldn't cut open his brain if there were no outer injuries. Odutra screamed. Outside, Caprice heard him and pushed the door open. Seeing the struggling Odutra, she asked, "Chen, what did you do to him?" "I didn't do anything. I didn't even touch him." Chen Zhao shrugged helplessly. "Is he pretending?" Caprice considered this. She wasn't sure if Chen Zhao was speaking the truth or not, but Odutra didn't have any injuries. Chen Zhao temporarily slowed down the brain-eating insect, making it stop for now. Odutra felt the pain subside. He raised his head with difficulty. "What did you do to me? What exactly did you do? I don't know what you're talking about." Chen Zhao turned around. "Caprice, lead me out of here." "Just like that?" Caprice asked. "What else?" Caprice and Chen Zhao walked out of the cell. Odutra's painful wails sounded once again. "Chen, did you really not do anything to him?" Chen Zhao turned to glance at Caprice. "If I leave and he dies in his cell, there'll be no problems, right? You didn't leave any evidence, right?" Caprice asked. Clearly, Caprice was already thinking of a solution. If Chen Zhao really left something behind, she would help remove it. "No. There's definitely no evidence. I didn't even touch him." "Good. That's best." Chen Zhao left the prison and got into a taxi. Along the way, he got Caprice's call. "Chen, he's dead." "Oh. Sir, your item has arrived. Would you like to come to check?" Risfar put down the documents in his hands. He'd shipped an RV from Europe. Hearing that it had arrived, he decided to check. 20 minutes, he arrived at a high-class RV retail. This store was under Laura's name. The RV that he'd shipped over this time was under the store's name. As soon as he entered, he saw a familiar man, Chen Zhao. "Chen, why are you here?" "Oh," Chen Zhao asked, a bit surprised. "Johnny, you're here to buy an RV too?" Yeah." Risfar chuckled while waving at the salesman beside Chen Zhao. "I'll accompany Chen. You can go." Seeing how obedient the salesman was, Chen Zhao asked, "You're familiar with this store?" "Pretty familiar." Risfar nodded. "What kind of car are you looking for? What price range?" "Under $300,000 and a bigger model. I like bringing my kids when I go out." "Where's your Ford SUV?" "It broke. I tossed it." Risfar's eyes flashed. From what he knew, Chen Zhao wasn't the type that would just toss away a $20,000 car. Even if he sold it, he should still get a few $1,000s. "What do you think about that car? It's pretty big inside." Risfar pointed at the car up ahead. "It's $18,000. That's practically a bus. I don't want to drive a bus around." "What about that car?" "It's a British Knight V12, classic model, sold for $210,000. It looks like a small truck." "That's too weird." Risfar thought for a moment and said to his assistant, "Take Chen and me to the garage." There were even more RV models in the garage. However, most were trucks or buses. After all, they were easier to modify. The cheapest cars were only around $100,000. The expensive end was truly expensive. Risfar pointed at the innermost RV. "What do you think of that EleMMent Palazzo?" Chen Zhao's eyes brightened. This RV's model was quite unique. It had a huge circular disc in the front. It was milky white with 2 levels. The driver's seat was behind the disc. The hood had slanted corners. The whole thing looked really futuristic. Can I look inside? Of course. Chen Zhao was tempted because the car was truly beautiful. He was most worried about the cost. It looked more expensive than the others. Inside the car, Chen Zhao discovered that the interior design was abnormally fancy too. The space inside was about 40 square meters. It was practically a moving castle. There was even a 15-meter-long bar on the second floor. Other than the counter and fridge, the bar also had 3 more than 50-inch wide LCD TVs in a row. There was a soft sofa and a few chairs on the other side. The lower level had a bedroom, a functional bathroom, and a dining room. The space could also be extended a dozen square meters mechanically. It couldn't be extended while driving though. The car's shape suddenly changing may cause fatal traffic problems. This car basically had the most appliances. It used the most modern technology to show what luxury meant. Chen Zhao and Faur walked down the automatically extended steps. Chen Zhao looked back longingly. This must be a few million, right? The market price is around $1 million, Faur said. But I shipped this over myself, so it's only $500,000 at most. $500,000? Chen Zhao was tempted. Faur's assistant glanced at him. Others might not know, but he definitely did. This RV named EleMMent Palazzo was the most luxurious RV in the world. It was produced by Austrian carmaker Marchi Mobile. Its retail price was $3,200,000. Adding in the shipping and custom fees, it cost Faur $3,500,000 to transport it from Austria. What do you think? If you want it, it's yours. You shipped it over. That means you want it, right? I shipped it over to sell it, Faur said, smiling. It's really only $500,000? Of course. Okay, I want it, Chen Zhao finally decided. It was over his budget, but this car wasn't only for everyday traveling. If he and Farley went on vacation, it could be a good shelter too. Even if they went out for a field trip, this could provide a great convenience. Chapter 321, War in Hell. Chapter 321, War in Hell. Rowan, help my friend to complete the formalities. Yes, boss. Chen Zhao bought the van and bid goodbye to Faur. He could not wait to let Farley know. After some consideration, Faur took out his phone. Manus, help me to check if someone wants to harm Chen Zhao. Yes, boss. When the RV reached Angel Beach, it attracted countless stares. Faur, who had been patrolling on the beach, also saw the vehicle. Her first impression was that a rich person came to the beach to play. She recognized the car. It was EleMMent Palazzo, the most expensive RV in the world. It cost over $3 million. Without doubt, it was a luxury that only the rich could afford. When Chen Zhao alighted from the RV, Faur's eyes glowed brightly. It was Chen Zhao again. This Asian must be really rich. Hey, Chen, Faur greeted, approaching Chen Zhao. Where did you get the van? It's beautiful. Just bought it. Are you looking for Farley? Yes. By then, all the lifeguards from the coastal rescue team had come out. After all, EleMMent Palazzo was very famous. Everyone had heard about it before, except for the vehicle idiot Chen Zhao. Farley saw Chen Zhao before the van and immediately approached him. Chen, where did you get the van? Bought it. Where's your original car? It's broken, so I threw it away. I thought SUVs aren't large enough for our pets, so I bought a bigger one. When Faur heard Chen Zhao's words, she felt that her outlook was changed completely. SUVs were too small for Chen Zhao's pets, so he bought a van that cost $3 million. It was too much even for a tycoon. At this instant, Faur really envied Farley. Faur straightened her back and threw out her chest, hoping that Chen Zhao would notice her more. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao could only see Farley. Want to take a look inside? Chen Zhao asked, holding Farley's hand. Sure. Farley also wanted to see how the legendary EleMMent Palazzo looked like. "Can I take a look too?" Faur asked. Of course, Farley generously agreed. Faur entered the van. She realized that its interior was more lavishly decorated than her house. The other lifeguards also came in one after another, admiring the designs. Nevertheless, they were quite sensitive and left the van after taking a look. A few female lifeguards looked at Farley and Chen Zhao in resentment. They very reluctantly left the vehicle. Eventually, only Chen Zhao and Farley were left in the van. Farley lay in Chen Zhao's arms. "Chen, why did you spend so much on a vehicle?" "It's fine. I just received a few $100,000. But the van is much more expensive than that. Mr. Risfar helped me. He gave me a 50% discount on the $1 million van. No, I remember reading an article before. This van costs at least $3 million. What? Risfar said it's only $1 million. Farley was speechless. It was such a huge difference. Only a vehicle idiot like Chen Zhao would believe in the price that easily. $500,000 was probably not even enough to build the van. What do you plan to do? Return the van to Risfar? If I return it to him, we probably won't even be friends anymore. Returning a person's gift was indeed very rude. Forget it. Let's keep the van. If Risfar needs help in the future, I'll return the favor. I guess so, Farley nodded. By the way, we've never played in a car before, right? Asshole, I'm still working. It's okay. Nobody will disturb us. The RV had excellent sound insulation and would also not vibrate, unlike smaller cars. Hence, the two could play all they wanted in the RV. Very soon, Farley was panting. "Farley, I'm leaving at 12 midnight today and will only come back at 12 midnight tomorrow." "Got it. Drive the van to work tomorrow. Bring all the kids with you. Don't leave them at home." Chen Zhao was actually worried that the Mexican gang would still not give up. His pets could ensure Farley's safety. Moreover, with the van, if the Mexican gang wanted to play car collision again, they had to find a huge truck. After finishing their business, the two alighted from the van together and went to rest in the HQ. Everyone could tell what they had just done from their looks. When the two returned home in the evening, Princess was still playing in the courtyard outside. Without Chen Zhao's permission, she did not dare to enter the house lest she get scolded by Chen Zhao. "Chen, is it just me, or did Princess actually become bigger? She's probably been eating more than when she was in the wild, so she grew in size," Chen Zhao said. Farley only asked out of curiosity. She knew that Chen Zhao had many secrets. At night, Chen Zhao put Farley to bed early and waited until it was 12 midnight. When the midnight bell rang, the long-awaited summoning came as expected. Chen Zhao arrived in hell again, but this time he was greeted by a sky full of fiery clouds. In the distance, chaos was spreading. Countless demons were surging toward him. Just then, a red gargantuan dragon made a magnificent arc in the sky, incinerating crowds of demons. Chen Zhao turned his head. Beelzebub Zophi was standing beside him. "Lord, what's happening? I'm at war with my neighbor, Logan. Do take cover in the castle," Beelzebub Zophi said. Chen Zhao was flabbergasted. As luck would have it, he arrived here during a war. The red fire dragon in the sky must be Beelzebub Zophi's wife, Oris. A few hundred meters long, Oris was terrifyingly powerful. As she exhaled a dragon breath, a towering pillar of fire flew across the land. Thousands of demons were disintegrated into mere ash. The war between demon lords was as brutal and intense as one could possibly imagine. Chen Zhao watched in awe, his eyes almost popping out. Is this the war between demons? Compared to demon wars, human wars were more like a game. Of course, the comparison was made in terms of destructiveness. For example, the conventional weapons used in human wars were not comparable with the ones in demon wars. Beelzebub Zophi had yet to act. Only his wife had been attacking. He was probably waiting for the enemy lord to show up. Nonetheless, the enemy lord seemed to have a much bigger army than Obsidian Castle. Many demons had indeed passed Oris' line of defense, rushing toward the castle. Some had even made their way into the castle. A few inferior winged demons broke through the windows and charged at Chen Zhao. Suddenly, Chen Zhao heard a sharp howl from behind. The few intruders were crushed instantaneously. Chen Zhao turned his head and realized that it was Jessica. He was glad that Jessica had made it here in time. Just then, the wall behind Chen Zhao trembled and an enormous demon dashed in. Hee hee. Jessica. I recovered some energy, but compared to what I exerted, it's not enough. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and took out a perfect crystal potion. Try this bottle. Oris took another sip. A hot wave suddenly rolled off of her. Chen Zhao hurriedly jumped aside. Perfect crystal? Yes, it contains some perfect crystals. How much more of this do you have right now? Just this much. Chen Zhao handed some bottles to her. I'll take it now. Jot it down, Oris said. When Sophie and I get rid of Logan, we'll pay you. Chapter 323, They Look Like Mad Dogs. Chapter 323, They Look Like Mad Dogs. Living Lord, here are the badges you wanted. They've been cast with Indestructible, which makes them invulnerable in most situations. Jessica approached Chen Zhao and gave him 3 badges. They're made up of demonic gold, right? Yes, it's a cheap metal in hell. Demonic gold felt very much like gold, but they were still different. All 3 demonic badges were identically shaped as coins. You said most situations, which means they might still be destroyed. Nothing is absolutely indestructible, but I cast Indestructible onto them myself. Thus anyone who's weaker than me will not be able to destroy the 3 coins. That's great, Chen Zhao nodded. He did not even know whether there was someone in the human world who was more powerful than Jessica. Chen Zhao kept the coins. Suddenly, a demon army rose into the sky above Obsidian Castle. In the distance, a demon army also appeared from the mountains. Is another fight starting? Yes. How long will the war last? With the current intensity, maybe about a month, Jessica said. Your lord will win, right? Regardless of the cause of the war, Chen Zhao hoped that Beelzebub Sophie would win. After all, they knew each other. They were even friends in some sense. Moreover, Obitos was his demon servant. Chen Zhao supported Beelzebub Sophie on both emotional and rational grounds. He won't lose, Jessica assured. If your lord or madam ever needs help, don't hesitate to tell me. Jessica nodded. By then, the 2 demon armies had already collided into each other in the sky. A battle also erupted on the ground. Chen Zhao was amazed by the scale of the war. Suddenly, Beelzebub Sophie flew into the sky. Immediately, he turned into a giant horned monster hundreds of meters tall. The pair of wings on his back looked pathetically small in comparison, and his skin was as rough as a coarse rock. Beelzebub Sophie, in his giant form, swept the land with his large mouth. Hundreds of demons were devoured at once. He even made a huge pit on the ground. Beelzebub Sophie chewed the flesh and rocks in his blood-filled mouth before swallowing them. The demons around began to attack Beelzebub Sophie's true form, only to be ignored completely. Beelzebub Sophie roamed about in the battlefield, and whenever he stopped there would be a gory feast. This was the reason why superior demons were crucial in such a war. That included Beelzebub Sophie and Oris. As if he was sick of the taste of terrestrial demons, Beelzebub Sophie inhaled at the sky and sucked hundreds of demons into his mouth again. Logan, come out. Beelzebub Sophie roared. Right away, the ground and the mountains trembled. Beelzebub Sophie's voice spread for many kilometers. Standing on the balcony of Obsidian Castle, Chen Zhao was blown into the sky by the wild wind. Suddenly, Oris appeared. She grabbed Chen Zhao and then landed onto the balcony again. Just then, a wave of black light spread in the distance. A black lion, which was not much smaller than Beelzebub Sophie, appeared. The lion had a scar that extended downward from one of his eyes. Sophie, as you wish, I'm here. The 2 enormous creatures leaped at each other and began rolling in the middle of the battlefield. At the start, Chen Zhao watched them in excitement. The battle between 2 great demon lords must surely be earth-shattering. In fact, It was. Wherever the two great lords were, the earth shattered and the mountains vibrated. However, Chen Zhao became bored very soon. Oris, is this how two great demon lords fight? They look like two mad dogs. I didn't say that. Chen Zhao did not want to tell this female demon that her husband really looked like a mad dog. They're not planning to have a death match, Oris said. Look at how they're biting and scratching each other. Isn't this a death match? Chen Zhao could not understand. While the two great lords had a seemingly fierce fight, they stopped after an hour or so. They said a threatening line each and then the battle ceased. Oris, why didn't you go and help just now? If I joined, it would really be a death match. Isn't the current situation already a death match? What situation? We can get as many inferior demons as we like. Their loss is insignificant, Oris said. Chen Zhao was speechless. They indeed had very different views. Chen Zhao stayed in Obsidian Castle for 24 hours, during which there were 4 battles. The two parties would basically fight with each other for a few hours, rest for a few hours, and then fight again. Beelzebub, Zophie and Oris took turns to attack. However, when Oris attacked, Logan did not show up. When Chen Zhao left Hell, the two parties were still at war. Roar! When Chen Zhao appeared in the villa, he suddenly saw a pair of green eyes in the darkness. It was Princess. She was not used to him suddenly appearing. Black Ma, White Ma and the rest only moved slightly and then fell asleep again. Princess pushed Briar and Bramble away slightly, after which she approached Chen Zhao. She sniffed at Chen Zhao and then put her head against Chen Zhao's chest. Chen Zhao patted her head. Go and sleep. It's late. Chen Zhao quietly walked to the bedroom and sneaked in carefully. He removed his clothes and slowly found Farley. When he pulled Farley's head, he smelled alcohol on her mouth. Farley, stop. Chen Zhao suddenly froze. He looked at the other side of the bed, where another person was lying. That person was Farley. Then the person in my hands. The woman in Chen Zhao's arms also froze, as if she had realized something. Chen Zhao gently withdrew his hands and left the bed like a thief. He crawled over to pick up his clothes, ready to escape from the bedroom. However, the bedside lamp was suddenly turned on. Farley sat up on the bed. Chen Zhao turned his head and saw Farley and Faur sitting on the bed. He was in a really awkward position, because he was fully naked. He did not think that much just now and had removed all his clothes, including his underwear. Hi. Farley, Faur, Chen Zhao very awkwardly greeted the two. Farley's cheeks were slightly red and she still smelled of alcohol. She had probably drunk quite a lot with Faur today. Faur's cheeks were also flushed, but she did not seem to be drunk. Chapter 324, Faur has insomnia. Chapter 324, Faur has insomnia. Chen Zhao escaped from the bedroom. He was about to spend the night on the sofa when Farley walked out. He grabbed Farley and started right then and there. Chen Zhao released his vigor while Farley could never be satisfied. Poor Faur though. She had to listen to the moans for the entire night. Finally, in the second hour, she couldn't stand it anymore. Enough. She stood at the bedroom door and looked at the naked man and woman on the living room floor. With that, Faur slammed the door shut. Chen Zhao and Farley realized that they were being too offensive, so they ran out to continue by the pool. Faur was alone in the bedroom. Chen Zhao and Farley had gone outside, but she could still vaguely hear the sounds. This was even worse than directly hearing them. She stole a glance outside the window. Did that asshole never get tired? All he knew to do was torture Farley. How did Farley withstand such a horrible asshole? The two started from midnight to around 4 or 5 in the morning. Faur only watched secretly for around 2 hours. The next day, Chen Zhao was spirited as he prepared breakfast. Faur walked out of the bedroom with dark circles under her eyes. Chen Zhao placed a glass of milk and a fried egg before her. Morning. Faur glared at him. Where's Farley? Chen Zhao pointed at the living room sofa. Still sleeping. Faur swore inwardly that she'd never come to Chen Zhao and Farley's home again. These two bastards didn't care about others' feelings at all. Chen Zhao especially was crazy. He would never get tired out. Help me wake Farley up at 9, Chen Zhao said. I'm going out. Just then, Movich tutors had called, asking Chen Zhao if he'd thought of a solution yet. Princess moved her stubby legs and waddled over to Chen Zhao. He had to make breakfast for her again. Her appetite was too big. It had only been a few days, but she'd already gotten bigger. Faur was speechless. I'm not your slave. But Chen Zhao didn't give her the chance to refuse. He grabbed the group of pets and herded them into the RV. Honk, honk. Movich tutors carefully opened the door and saw a huge RV parked outside. Then he saw Chen Zhao wave from the car. Movich looked around and then ran onto the car. Is this your car? Yeah. Chen Zhao nodded. Let's start. You already thought of something? I figured it out long ago, but I needed to get ready, Chen Zhao said. Hold this. Movich accepted it. It was a golden coin. One side had a 6-point star. The other side was blank. What's this? Drip your blood onto it. Movich followed his orders and let a drop of blood fall onto the coin. Hold tight. Chen Zhao grabbed Movich's hands while muttering a curse. Gradually, Movich felt it. He felt the coin. It was a strange feeling, like the coin was part of him. Just then, Chen Zhao moved his hand to Movich's chest. Then he slowly moved his hand to the shoulder and then down the arm to his palm. Finally, Chen Zhao yelled, "Enter." Movich suddenly felt that the coin had changed. It was like something was added to it. Open, Chen Zhao said. Movich opened his hand and held up the coin. He discovered that there was a new face on the back of it. He immediately touched his chest. Really, one face was missing from his chest. The face on the coin seemed to be his father. Chen Zhao took the coin. Success. Now, the second one. Chen Zhao handed Movich a second golden coin and followed the same steps. He first connected the coin to Movich and then transferred the soul onto the coin. However, after casting the spell twice, Chen Zhao was already exhausted. I need a break. The exertion is too much. Chen Zhao's magic wasn't strong enough. Merely these 2 easy spells were enough to fatigue him. Chen, thank you. No problem, Chen Zhao said. This is a fair trade. After half an hour of resting, Chen Zhao finally started the third time. The entire process was successful. The souls of Movich's 3 closest relatives were all transferred onto golden coins. I actually haven't solved your problem from the root. I just combined the coins with you, so you must take care of these 3 coins forever. Don't lose them. If they're destroyed, you'll also die. Understood? I understand. Movich nodded. Can I talk to them? I can't do that. I'm just a doctor, not a professional spiritualist. I can recommend you to a professional though. She might have a solution. Movich could finally take off the thick clothes. He didn't have to wrap himself up like before. He felt an unprecedented lightness as if he'd gotten a new life. Wait, I'll go get the check. Soon, Movich walked out. He ran onto the RV and handed Chen Zhao a $500,000 check. Oh, do you know who cast the spell on you? Chen Zhao asked. Movich shook his head. I have no clue. I've been wondering who did it too. Do you think that the spiritualist you mentioned can help answer the question? I'm not sure. Can you contact him now? Sure. Chen Zhao picked up his phone. Hi, Sienna. Chen, are you crazy? Do you know what time it is? I have a client. Are you sure you don't want to come? Client? What kind? How much money? Sienna was instantly awake. As long as you can solve my problem, I can give you $100,000, Movich said generously. Sienna went crazy. Wait, tell me right now where you are. Chris, Shirley. Get up. Stop sleeping. $100,000. She'd never seen this much money in her life before. She was beyond herself now and didn't even care that she was still on the phone. A huge sale. Someone offered $100,000. You too, get up and make yourself presentable. Movich glanced at Chen Zhao. Are you sure the madwoman in the phone can solve my problem? Chapter 325 Sienna is just set to be poor. Chapter 325 Sienna is just set to be poor. After about half an hour, Sienna arrived in her tattered little car. Chen, where's the client? I don't see him. You see the RV opposite your car? Yes, and then? We're in the van. Come in. When Sienna, Chris and Cheryl entered the RV, they were astonished by the luxurious decorations. Wow, it's bigger than where we stay. Is this the client's car? It's mine, Chen Zhao said. He's your client. It's you. Cheryl's face turned cold. You profiteer. Wait. Cheryl, you know him? He's the owner of the power supply company. When I was still in the orphanage, he argued with Granny twice. Both of them felt really awkward. Movich Tutors scratched his head. But I never cut off the electricity, although I did send someone to ask for the payment twice. During Christmas, did Yuchi's go and find Movich? Chen Zhao asked. Chen Zhao recalled that Yuchi's had become a monster precisely because of magic backlash. Was it because she had cast a spell on Movich? Cheryl immediately got it. You mean Granny Yuchi's cast a curse on him? Very likely, Chen Zhao nodded. But I've never met her in person, Movich said. If a witch wants to curse you, you won't even realize it. It's no wonder that after Christmas, Granny Yuchi's became very weird. Where's she now? Movich asked. Granny Yuchi's is already dead, thanks to you. Why is it me? I didn't do anything. I'm also a victim. It's because of your threat. You said that if you didn't receive the payment, you would cut off the electricity to the orphanage before Christmas. Chen Zhao glanced at Movich. It was indeed a severe threat. Movich sighed, but I didn't do it. I didn't mean it. You can't just threaten people like that. Chen Zhao glanced at Movich. All right, I think we're done here. Mr. Movich has already received his punishment, and Yuchi's also paid the price for her actions. Wait, Sienna suddenly screamed. That means, it's over. Where's the 100,000? Chen Zhao looked at Sienna in sympathy. She was just not destined to be rich. To make up for my mistake, I'll donate $1 million to the orphanage, Movich said. Girl, I feel very sorry for what I've done and for those I've hurt. Humph, Cheryl still could not forgive Movich. Chen Zhao did not want to comment on this. After all, Movich did not do anything wrong in principle. Electricity companies were not charities, and he did not even cut off the electricity at the end. Of course, while he did not make a mistake by law, there were still ethical problems. Ms. Sienna, I would like to hire you as my company's special security consultant. Special security consultant, again? Chen Zhao was surprised. It was just swings and roundabouts. What's the salary? 10,000 a month. How about my team? How much will they get? Them. 6,000 a month. What do you think? Well, I forgive you a bit, Cheryl said with her head high. Although Sienna did not receive $10,000, they were still elated by their new job. Cheryl still hated Movich, but she was a mature child. She did not act harshly. She knew that Movich was not the person to blame. Just then, Movich suddenly screamed, "Ah! Help! There's a bear!" Sienna, Chris and Cheryl were all shocked by Princess. Roar! Cheryl charged forward at once. However, Princess lifted her paw and Cheryl flew away. Don't fight in the van. Stop. If you break my stuff, I'll make you pay for it. Chen Zhao roared. Cheryl, Princess, stop now. Chen, do not tell me that it's your pet. Princess, go upstairs. Why did you come down? Chen Zhao ordered. Princess pointed at her stomach. Roar. She was hungry again. Chen Zhao patted his forehead. Go upstairs first. Is the bear similar to Obito's and the rest? Sienna asked. Kind of. Chen, you're a druid, right? Sienna asked. Okay, we're done here. You can leave now. Chen Zhao waved his hand, chasing everyone down his van. Chen, teach me druid spells. Sienna felt that she could hardly make any money with her current knowledge of magic. She wanted to be rich and own a deluxe van just like Chen Zhao. Maybe when my mood is better. Evely, Your result is already excellent. If you follow my method to train, you'll definitely have an outstanding performance during UC games. Why would you hire another coach? It'll only change your habits and rhythm. I think it's a bad idea. Coach Cantor, I've already made up my mind, Evely said emotionlessly. Also, it's the changing room ahead. Please stop following me. Evely had already paid the money. It was too late to regret. It was not a small amount. 100,000 was what a middle-class family would earn in a year. She was not rich to the extent that she could throw away $100,000 easily. You'll regret it, Cantor said, displeased. That's my problem. Evely was determined. When Evely came out from the changing room, she was already in her one-piece swimsuit and swimming cap. Norman's just arrived. Norman's, when will he be here? He's already on his way, but don't expect him to be punctual. By fast, he might mean an hour. Don't tell me he'll only be here at noon. Evely was very dissatisfied. In her opinion, Chen Zhao should be punctual, since he had taken her money. That's just how he is. If you want him to be punctual, he wouldn't even have accepted the task. If his training is ineffective, I'll make him spit out all my money. Chapter 326, The Older, the Less Manners. Chapter 326, The Older, the Less Manners. UCLA's guard stopped Chen Zhao's RV. Stop. Chen Zhao poked his head out. What? I'm a teacher here. Why can't I go in? The guard studied him. He had an impression of Chen Zhao. After all, he always came and went with a bunch of pets. It was hard not to remember him. Why are you driving this car to school? Where's your car for everyday transportation? This is my car, Chen Zhao replied naturally. What? This is your car? You're using an RV as a car. All right, please move. I have to park. If I can't find a spot, I'll park the car in the entrance. Faced with Chen Zhao's threat, the guard could only surrender and move aside. After Chen Zhao parked, Princess shook her fat butt and dragged Briar and Bramble out first. Then Black Ma and White Ma squeezed past the door. Obito's followed closely after. They came out according to size. Chen, are you here yet? Norman's called to threaten him. We've already been soaking in the water for half an hour. If you don't come, I'm going to demand a refund. Okay. I got to the school, but I can't find the pool. Can you take me there? Are you stupid? There are so many people on campus. Just find someone to ask. All right. Chen Zhao had to admit that this was a solution. However, no one dared to approach Chen Zhao with Princess beside him. Black Ma, go get someone. Black Ma zoomed away and bit a student's shirt. The student almost pissed his pants. Chen Zhao walked over. Hey, don't be scared. I just need to ask for directions. Princess sniffed the boy. He raised his hands up high, afraid that this huge beast would bite him. Can you make it go away? The student's legs turned to jello. It's really impolite to make a lady move away from you. Sorry. Okay, can you take me to the pool? Can I refuse? Roar. Princess's roar was deafening. Chen Zhao hurriedly went to steady to the student so he didn't fall to the ground. Okay, let's go. Just then, Wright and some tall male professors walked over. Chen, how come it's you? Wright was shocked to see Chen Zhao. She heard that someone brought a bear to school, so she brought some teachers over to kick the guy out. She didn't expect that it would be Chen Zhao. Wright looked behind Chen Zhao at the huge princess. She was now more than 800 kilograms. Basically, Chen Zhao would supply as much food as needed, so she grew very quickly. Chen, what is that? A bear, Chen Zhao answered. Her name is Princess. Your pet? Yeah. Why did you bring it to school? It's more troublesome if no one's home taking care of them, so I'm used to bringing them with me. Are you sure it won't hurt anyone? Princess's claws were more than 10 centimeters long. They were like small daggers hanging from her paw. It really looked terrifying. If Chen Zhao hadn't been standing there, Wright would have definitely called the cops. I promise she won't hurt anyone. Wright approached her carefully, still feeling scared inside. Are you sure it won't bite me? Right, you should trust me. Fine. Right finally walked to Princess and reached out to touch her. Princess suddenly stuck out her tongue and licked Right's palm. Terrified, Right snatched her hand back. Princess went forward and voluntarily rubbed against Right. She gathered her courage again and petted Princess's big head. Do you want to try sitting on her? Chen Zhao suggested. What? Are you sure? Right was afraid but also excited. Of course. Briar, Bramble, come down. Let Granny sit. Chen Zhao went up. He picked Right up bridal style and set her down on Princess's back. After settling in, Right completely got over her fear. A little slower, Right said, and Princess slowed down. It's so smart. Can it understand what I'm saying? Most of it, Chen Zhao said. Where are you going? Swimming pool. For what? I'm meeting friends there. Chen Zhao patted the student beside him. Okay, friend, you can go. Your principal will bring me there. The student wasn't afraid anymore. Even Right wasn't afraid, so he had nothing to fear. Sitting on Princess's back, the old lady actually turned playful. Princess, you can speed up. A bit faster, faster. Yeah, just like this. Princess could reach 40 kilometers per hour when she ran. Of course, she was too heavy, so she couldn't maintain that speed. Right enjoyed this unprecedented fast and furious feeling. All the students and teachers who passed by stared at Right galloping on a bear. They felt that either the world had gone crazy or they had. Phew. Okay, you can stop now. Right was thoughtful. She was only 40 kilograms, but bears weren't beasts with great endurance. Their own weight was already a burden. Princess lowered herself so Right could get off. Good girl. Right patted Princess's head. She loved Princess now. Seeing Chen Zhao walk over from the distance, Right said, Chen, can Princess be our school mascot? What? I want to print Princess's profile on our school flag. And I hope it can come to our sports competition half a month later. Right already decided that she wanted to ride Princess as her grand entrance. This old lady loved attention. No one could stop her. Of course, each school competed with each other. Not only did they compete in academics and athletics, but the principals also competed with each other. Their everyday conversations were along the lines of, I shot a boar in the mountain today. Tomorrow, I'm going to ace golf. Anyway, the older they got, the less willing they were to admit defeat. Right already decided that she would ride Princess and show off before those other old guys. They might be respected and serious senior scholars in their own fields, but when they went wild, the youngsters couldn't even compare. The University of California once had a beast domestication major just because a principal was humiliated by an old friend. Even so, I still think that she's just been deceived. Cantor was just being jealous that Chen Zhao was going to get 200,000. As a professional swimming coach, his annual salary was only 30,000. Moreover, Chen Zhao would get to teach Eve Li, the prettiest girl in the swimming team. Eve Li would usually not even allow Cantor to go near her. If you want to teach here, you need to prove yourself first. Look at us. Everyone here is close to being a professional swimmer. But what about you? As a swimming coach, you might not even beat the girls here. Which means that if I beat the girls here, I can stay. Is it? Chen Zhao asked. Cantor smiled. He was waiting for this moment. Gina Lisby, come out, Cantor called. A tall and well-proportioned girl walked out. The girl had long limbs and was about 1.75 meters tall. One could tell from the muscles on her arms and thighs that she was a talented swimmer. Only the gifted could become excellent swimmers. Firstly, a good swimmer had to satisfy certain bodily conditions, such as the lengths of the limbs and the sizes of the hands and feet. These would all determine the swimmer's eventual achievements. Evelia's expression changed slightly. Noticing it, Normans asked softly, "Is that girl very good?" "She's the best swimmer in the college's female team, especially for medium to long distances. She once made it in 16 minutes for 1,500 meters. Normans looked at Chen Zhao. She knew that Chen Zhao was very strong physically, but he had never truly displayed his swimming speed. She was also unsure if Chen Zhao could beat the girl named Gina. Wright also looked at Chen Zhao. As Chen Zhao's senior, she clearly did not want him to be humiliated. However, Chen Zhao agreed to compete with the girl himself. No matter the result, he would have to face it himself too. We can have a competition, but I want to bet, Chen Zhao said. Mr. Cantor, do you dare to bet with me?
How?
$1,000. If I win, you must give me 1,000. Cantor looked at Gina and smiled. Of course. Chapter 328, Congrats on breaking the women's world record. Chapter 328, Congrats on breaking the women's world record. Seeing that Chen Zhao was going to bet again, Normans couldn't decide if she wanted to laugh or cry. Chen Zhao grinned. You won't say I'm bullying students this time, right? Whatever. Normans looked away so she wouldn't have to see. Let's start, Canterbury urged. Chen Zhao took off his clothes. He wore swim trunks underneath them. Walking to Gina's side, he said, Lady, should I go easy on you? Gina looked at him seriously. Not even the guys on the swim team dare to talk to me like that. That's why I'm not a student. Chen Zhao shrugged. How far are we swimming? 1,500 meters, freestyle. Can you do it? Of course, no problem. Chen Zhao and Gina stood on the deck and Cantor raised the pistol. Ready. Gina already crouched down, but Chen Zhao was still doing warm-ups. Chen, get ready, Wright reminded. She was more nervous than Chen Zhao, the interested party. But Chen Zhao didn't get serious at all. It's okay. She's a girl, after all. I have to go easy on her. Plus, you have to warm up fully before swimming. Otherwise, it's easy to get cramps. Asian, I told you to get ready. Didn't you hear me? You can just start, Chen Zhao said, shaking his arm. Don't have to care about me. Cantor gritted his teeth. His expression was cold. Since you want to act clever, I'll see how you lose later. Get set. Bang. Gina dove into the water like a swordfish. After traveling underwater for a dozen meters, she charged to the other side. She soon swam 50 meters, and then 100. She was very fast, finishing 150 meters, 200 meters. Finally, when she was about to turn for the second time, Chen Zhao also jumped into the water. He was so fast. Normans and Eve Lee both let out surprised gasps. When Gina swam to 300 meters, Chen Zhao had already swum 150 meters. He was clearly faster than Gina, but Cantor still scoffed. Idiot. This is 1,500 meters, not 50 meters. With his speed now, he'll never get to the end. To him, Gina was using the correct strategy. As long as Gina could maintain this speed, victory would be hers. However, Chen Zhao didn't slow down. He quickly caught up to Gina. By now, they'd swum 700 meters. Gina had already slowed down a bit, but Chen Zhao retained his extremely fast speed. Cantor's expression darkened. Chen Zhao's speed and endurance were better than he'd imagined. When they reached 1,000 meters, Gina was 100 meters behind Chen Zhao. They were one lap apart. This gap was still widening. The result was already obvious. If Chen Zhao could keep going until 1,500 meters, he would definitely win. As for whether he could keep going or not, Normans and Eve Lee didn't doubt he could. This guy was a total beast. He could do 10 times that distance without much effort. Just like how Cantor was worried about, Chen Zhao reached the end first. Gina arrived later, after a full minute. Gina, why is your performance so bad today? Cantor demanded, upset. He messed up my rhythm. Gina wasn't lying. Chen Zhao had indeed disrupted her rhythm. Chen Zhao was clearly faster than her, and every time he passed her, it disturbed her. This caused her to be unable to control her tempo and swim slower and slower. Her best record had been under 16 minutes, but she actually took 17 minutes this time. Usually, differences would only be around 10 seconds, according to the conditions. But this time, she was 1 full minute slower than her best record. It was evident how important rhythm was to a swimmer. "Chen, you swam less than 16 minutes, Norman said teasingly. "If you add the 200 meters that you gave away, you probably broke the women's world record for 1,500 freestyle. What's there to be proud about breaking the women's world record as a man?" Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. He came out of the water and walked to Cantor. "Sir, hand over the $1,000. "This doesn't count," Cantor exclaimed. "Gina is in bad condition today. Beating her is nothing to be proud of." "I'm not proud, but I did win, Mr. Cantor," Evely piped up. Even at Gina's best shape, she still can't beat Chen. If you count the 200 meters that Chen had given her, he'd broken the world record. Can Gina break the world record? Chen Zhao really wasn't interested in the women's world record. However, he was interested in Cantor. This guy kept targeting him ever since he came. "I want to compete with you," Cantor said. "I didn't agree with that." Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. "Give me the $1,000 first. I'll obviously give it to you if you win. Mr. Cantor, please keep your promises," Wright said too, helping Chen Zhao. "We don't need people who don't keep their words in this school." In the end, Cantor took out $1,000 and unwillingly shoved it into Chen Zhao's hands. "I still want a round with you. If you're a man, you'll accept my challenge instead of bullying a girl." Cantor knew that Chen Zhao was fast. If he hadn't just competed, Cantor actually wasn't confident in beating him. However, he believed that Chen Zhao had used up most of his energy in the last round, so Cantor was sure he'd win. "What? I bullied a girl?" Chen Zhao was furious. "You were the one who told me to go against her. I even went easy on her. Now you're saying that I bully girls? No matter what, you didn't win fairly. Fine. I'll go against you." Chen Zhao's expression was serious. $5,000. "If you dare to accept that bet, then let's go." Cantor's expression changed. $5,000 wasn't a small number. But if he won, he would have made $5,000. "I hope you won't regret it," Cantor said, sneering. Chapter 329, Go, You Can Do It. Chapter 329, Go, You Can Do It. "Chen, are you still alright?" Wright knew that an athlete could hardly compete again immediately after a competition. Therefore, she was very worried for Chen Zhao's stamina. "Not at all," Chen Zhao said. "Are you too tired?" "No, I just hate swimming competitions, because I can't talk at all. It just sucks to be unable to talk during such a long competition." Evely suddenly recalled that when Chen Zhao was competing with Grint in the long run, he verbally harassed Grint throughout the journey. Her face darkened at once. "This asshole is simply unsatiably shameless. Aren't you getting into position? Are you trying to waste time?" Cantor urged. Cantor obviously hoped to have the competition as soon as possible. The quicker it happened, the less Chen Zhao's stamina would recover and the more likely he would win. As for fairness, there was no fairness in competitive sports. If there were fairness, foul tactics would not have developed. In any era, only the winners would be remembered. Only the winners could speak. Chen Zhao stood on the platform and glanced at Cantor. Evely looked at Chen Zhao's back. "Normans, are you sure he can win Cantor? Cantor isn't slow, and he just swam 1,500 meters. If he can't even swim for such a short distance, why should he charge you 200,000? Normans assured, unworried. Although Normans had said so, Evely still felt that it was risky. She was an 800-meter freestyle swimmer. She knew well how tiring it was to swim 800 meters at full speed. Not far away, Gina had been sitting beside the pool, drinking nutrient water since the end of the competition. One could deduce how exhausting a 1,500-meter freestyle competition was. Swimming 3,000 meters slowly and two 1,500-meter freestyle competitions were two entirely different concepts. Wright was just as anxious as Evely. She was similarly worried about Chen Zhao's stamina. Nevertheless, Chen Zhao, already standing on the platform, was out on a limb. Get ready. Wright gave the command this time. Chen, be more serious. Fine, I'll be serious this time. Chen Zhao finally bent his body properly. Bang! Chen Zhao and Cantor jumped into the water almost simultaneously. No, Cantor was slightly faster. Cantor jumped the gun, Evely said. Doesn't matter. Just wait for the outcome, Norman said calmly. Chen Zhao was too fast. Almost instantly, he was already one body length ahead. He reached 50 meters and turned around first. And then came the second, and the third. When Chen Zhao turned for the fourth time, Cantor had only just made his third. Their difference was too obvious. Cantor had already noticed that Chen Zhao was way faster than him. Now, he could only pray that Chen Zhao would run out of stamina halfway. Normans, how much time has passed? Evely asked softly. Normans glanced at the stopwatch in her hand. 6 minutes and 20 seconds. He's already swum 700 meters, right? Yes. If he maintains this speed, he will break the world record. Evely looked at the swimming Chen Zhao. By then, Chen Zhao's speed had decreased slightly. Evely heaved a sigh. She had indeed been overthinking. If a world record could be broken so easily, it would not have been a world record in the first place. Nonetheless, a Chinese had set the world record for men's 1,500-meter freestyle. Is the Chinese really more talented at long-distance freestyle? Finally, Chen Zhao reached the end. Normans pressed the stopwatch. 14 minutes and 12 seconds. Chen Zhao climbed out of the pool. He turned around and looked at Cantor, after which he asked, how many laps has he finished? 12. Mr. Cantor, go, you can do it. Normans rolled her eyes. Chen Zhao finally started to be a bitch. Cantor immediately choked on the water. He realized that Chen Zhao was sitting on the edge of the pool and also stopped. Why are you there? I finished, of course. That's impossible. I've just swum over 1,200 meters. How could you possibly finish so soon? You cheated. Stop bullshitting. So many people are here, watching. How do I even cheat? Chen Zhao said emotionlessly. There were more than 10 people in the complex. Gina also said, Mr. Cantor, Mr. Chen wasn't lying. He really finished the entire distance. Cantor also stopped swimming. He climbed out of the water, ready to leave. Mr. Cantor, did you forget something? What? The bet. I'm not feeling well today, so it doesn't count. It was 5,000, after all. He did not have that much money at the moment. That's none of my business. Take the gamble and pay the loss. 1,500-meter freestyle isn't my forte. I don't care what you're good at. You're going to pay today, Chen Zhao insisted. What if I don't? Then you might not be able to leave this place alive. Princess, who had been lying at the side, stood up and strolled toward them. Black Ma, White Ma, and Obito's also got up, closing in on Cantor. What are you doing? This is blackmailing. Chen, I have something else. Bye, Wright said. Dr. Wright, don't leave. Don't leave me here. This Asian is going to attack me. Sorry, I didn't see anything. Princess had already stood up. Cantor lifted his head and looked at the terrifyingly ferocious beast before him. He swallowed some saliva uncontrollably. I'll write a debt notice. Chen Zhao patted Cantor's shoulder. Sure, but don't forget to pay the interest. Cantor almost vomited blood. What's this? He hated Chen Zhao even more. Puff, feels really relaxed after some exercise. Chen Zhao turned and twisted his neck. Great, let's start our training. Normans and Evely approached Chen Zhao. Norman said, Chen, can you make me improve in a short period of time? I'm not sure about her, but it's definitely a yes for you. Oh, really? Norman's eyes glowed. Doesn't that mean that I'm more talented? You can go to a hospital for breast reduction surgery. It'll decrease water resistance and you'll surely improve. Asshole. Normans gritted her teeth in anger, but Evely was not happy either. Didn't Chen Zhao's words mean indirectly that her breasts were small? Actually, Evely's were not small at all. They were just ordinary and not as tremendous as Norman's. Chapter 330, Eradicate completely. Chapter 330, Eradicate completely. What event are you swimming? Chen Zhao asked. Freestyle, Norman said. 50 and 100 meters. And you? Freestyle, 800. Let's test your performance now. Who'll go first? I'll do it, Norman said. Norman's went to test first. Her performance for the 50 meters was 24.12 seconds. This wasn't her best time. For the 100 meters, she got 54 seconds. Next was Eve Lee. For 800 meters freestyle, it took her 8 minutes and 40 seconds. After finishing, she was completely exhausted. Did I let you sit down? Chen Zhao looked at Eve Lee. I'm tired. Can't I rest? Norman's, didn't you tell her the rules? Norman's glanced at Eve Lee. Don't talk back to this asshole. At least, think about your $200,000. Eve Lee stood up unwillingly and stood before Chen Zhao. Go down and swim 2,000 meters, Chen Zhao ordered. Both of you. Andibel, find some men for me. I want to teach someone a lesson. Cantor, who are you teaching a lesson? A motherfucker scammed me $5,000. You want to beat him up on or off campus? Off campus, Cantor answered. Teach him a lesson to what extent? Cantor thought for a moment. Break his arm. That's illegal. Shut up, Andibel. Don't think I don't know about you. Fine, but breaking an arm isn't cheap. How much? Cantor asked. $3,000. Cantor considered this and nodded. I accept this, but I have a condition. What is it? Destroy the IOU in his hands. Sure. Okay, today's training is over. We only trained for 2 hours and it's over. Norman's looked at him with annoyance. I'm hungry, Chen Zhao answered matter-of-factly. You've been eating by the pool this entire time without stopping and you say you're hungry? I didn't eat enough and now I'm even hungrier. Oh, eat whatever you want to eat today. Starting tomorrow, you won't get that freedom. Thinking of that hellish month, Norman's features twitched. Norman's, is that guy's training actually effective? You can still back out now. You just paid a $100,000 deposit. If you wait until tomorrow, then we'll really be on the way to hell. Is it that scary? It's scarier than you can imagine. Eat what you can today. Why does it sound like it's our last supper? You can treat it as your last supper. He can't supervise us 24 hours a day. How can he control what we eat? He can't control what we eat, but he can make us not able to eat anything. Impossible. He can't do that unless he imprisons us. That's all I'll say. Good luck. Chen Zhao didn't notice an SUV following his RV. Andibel, are we really going to attack the owner of that car? Andibel's face darkened. The guys he found all wanted to back out. It wasn't just them. Even he wanted to back out too. He didn't know the identity or status of their target, but that was a $3 million car. If the target wanted to find them, it wouldn't be hard. Cantor gave them $3,000. There were 8 guys in the car. This meant that each one would get less than $400. Pissing off a millionaire for $400 was clearly a stupid choice. Just then, a guy sitting in the backseat said, "That guy is driving such a nice car. He should be rich, right?" The atmosphere in the car turned ambiguous. They were all ruffians who stole a little or fought every other day to make money for drugs. But now, someone seemed to want to do something even worse. This made some of them feel uncomfortable. But then someone else said, "If we steal the car, we'll be rich." Everyone was tempted. Right, they didn't have to kidnap someone. Stealing a car could work too. It was a $3 million car. If they sold it to the black market, even if they couldn't sell it for that price, they could definitely sell it for a few $100,000. Andibel considered this. Are you guys serious? Andibel, are you gonna do it or not? If you're not, then we'll do it alone. To be honest, Andibel was tempted too. If this really could work out, they'd get a few $100,000. It was also risky though and they had a lot of people. Not everyone would have the same heart. If anyone leaked information, it would be a disaster for them. In America, you could offend anyone but the wealthy. Who has a gun? Andibel asked. Andibel, you want to kill him? Just in case. Eyes flashing, Andibel continued, anyone who wants to back out can do it now. Hey, Chen, Risfar called on the phone. We captured a dozen guys. You might be interested. Captured a dozen guys? Chen Zhao was confused. What did this have to do with him? Why would he be interested? They're Mexicans, Risfar said. Chen Zhao furrowed his brows. Mexicans? Yeah. These guys wanted to attack you. Where? There's a street sign around 30 kilometers to the east of Highway 12. Turn left there. In the desert. A dozen people is troublesome to take care of in the city. Chen Zhao could tell that Risfar wanted to kill these people. He considered it. This time, he didn't have any of that fake compassion. After all, this gang was too problematic. Even keeping one would cause endless problems. It was better to eradicate them completely. After all, Chen Zhao wasn't alone now. Farley was with him. If he was threatened, Farley may be affected as well. Thus, eradicating completely was the best choice. Since Risfar was willing to help him to this extent, there was no reason for Chen Zhao to keep hiding. At the very least, he couldn't stay out of it. Okay, I'm coming, Chen Zhao said. Risfar chased all his men from the car, after which he drove toward the house. The house was in complete silence. Risfar was very confused. Has Chen Zhao not started to kill them yet? He alighted from the car. At the instant he pushed the door open, he saw a black thing behind Chen Zhao's back. Chen. You. Immediately, the darkness behind Chen Zhao vanished. Chen Zhao also woke up at once. Johnny, why are you back again? I'm worried for you. Aren't you going to kill them? Risfar looked at the people on the ground. Horror was written all over their faces. It was as if they had just seen a monster. Did they see it too? Suddenly, they heard a car stop outside. Bang! Before Risfar knew it, he was shot in the back. Chen Zhao quickly dashed forward and hugged Risfar. In the next instant, a dark shadow appeared behind Chen Zhao and expanded wildly. A black, one-winged lion charged out from the darkness. There was only one emotion on the one-winged lion, wrath. Andibel and the other 7 people had already decided to kill Chen Zhao and snatch his van. Hence, when they alighted from the car, Andibel fired his gun directly. Only after killing Chen Zhao would they think about retreating. The person he shot was not Chen Zhao. However, since they had the plan, they would not care if they had to kill one person or two. Just then, a black thing broke through the door of the wooden house. It was a black lion, but it had a wing on its back. The lion started to attack them without hesitation. Andibel and his friends fired in shock. But it was useless. Bullets did not slow the lion at all. Andibel was the first. The black lion tore him to pieces. Run. The black lion just stood still and looked at the 7 escaping gangsters. As the 7 people ran, they suddenly stopped. Then, a black man leaped at another person. Dave, you fucked my woman, right? You fucking adulterer. Go and die. Mill, you broke my new phone last time, right? It's definitely you, don't explain. You asshole. I'm gonna kill you. You snatched my woman. You ate the jelly in the fridge. Stop shouting at me. I'm not your pawn. The 7 gangsters all went mad. They began to attack and smash each other with the rocks on the ground. It was as if they were all irreconcilable enemies. They had forgotten about pain and there was only one emotion on their faces, wrath. Chapter 332, Meow, I am the King of Wrath. Chapter 332, Meow, I am the King of Wrath. The dozen people in the room didn't have horror on their faces anymore either. Instead, it was fury. One of them broke the rope around him. But instead of attacking Chen Zhao, he pounced on the man beside him. It's all your fault. If you let me be the boss, we wouldn't have been held back by that stupid Odutra and lose everything. It's all your fault, all your fault. The others all broke their ropes and attacked each other as if they'd lost all reason. Chen Zhao treated Risfar while looking at the madman both inside and outside. They might have had some small problems before, but it all turned into harsh murderous intent now. The black-winged lion was undoubtedly a demon. However, it started shrinking. Slowly, his body went from a lion to a small cat. Even the wing disappeared in the end and it became a true kitty. Meow. The laws of the human world had started restricting him and his power. The restraint was the strongest on him though. Beelzebub had at least become a Shar-Pei, but this guy turned directly into a kitty. You're probably the subordinate of Wrath, Chen Zhao thought. Meow, meow. Human, don't you know to kneel before me, the king? Another conceited demon? Chen Zhao made a face. If you don't understand that you're my servant, get the fuck back to hell. Blasphemy. Do you not know who I am? Chen Zhao lifted up the small cat. Okay, tell me who you are right now. I am Samuel. I am no one's subordinate. I am Samuel, the King of Wrath. I don't believe you. You don't look like a demon lord at all. Chen Zhao didn't believe him. Let go. You're not allowed to squeeze my chin. Otherwise, I'll rip you apart. Chen Zhao smothered the kitty's face with his palm. He didn't worry about hurting the animal. This guy was clearly a projection, so this cat wasn't his true body. Even if Chen Zhao killed the cat, the demon's true body would still be unharmed. Chen, just then, Risfar woke up. He turned his head with difficulty. What is happening? They're suddenly killing each other. Chen Zhao shrugged. I think I just saw a weird creature with wings. Your vision has problems, Chen Zhao said. I'm going to call Laura. Don't call Laura. But you're injured. I'm not scared with you here. How many days will it take to recover? 3 days. Seems like I'll have a business trip for 3 days. Risfar looked at the small cat in Chen Zhao's hands. Where's that from? Found it, Chen Zhao answered casually. Maybe one of them had it. Chen Zhao carried Risfar onto the car. Who was the one that shot me? Risfar asked. I don't know, but it's not me, Chen Zhao said definitely. Wait, I'll go clean this up and then set it on fire. No need. Give me my phone. I'll have someone come clean it up and check who shot me. Master, come here. Carrie suddenly ran to Chen Zhao's feet and bit the cuff of his pants. Chen Zhao looked down at her and said to Risfar, lay down and rest. I'll go up for a second. When Chen Zhao went upstairs, he saw the group of demons all prostrated on the ground, heads and limbs touching the ground. They formed a circle around the small cat. Even the lawless Obitos did the same. Chen Zhao was dumbfounded. What are you all doing? Master, talk softly. You should respect King Samuel. King Samuel? Who? Beelzebub shot him a look. Him. Chen Zhao picked up the little cat. Don't tell me you really are Samuel, the King of Wrath. Human, you're still so unmannered. Have you heard of dragon tiger soup? What? Your Majesty, Raymond said timidly. That's making soup with cat and snake. Samuel was pissed. He reached out a paw to scratch Chen Zhao, but he was too small. He couldn't reach Chen Zhao at all. You better behave in my territory. I don't care how respected you are in hell. Here, if you don't listen to me, I don't mind becoming a cat abuser. You think I'll submit to you? Chen Zhao took out an angelic crystal. All the other demons escaped instantly. Only Samuel was stuck in Chen Zhao's grasp, unable to flee. I'll make you a beautiful cat bed filled with angelic crystals. You'll be able to experience a different kind of demon life. Truce, truce. Let's stop fighting. I've decided that I would like to interact with you peacefully. The King of Wrath wants peace. How about no? Isn't this too hard on you? Not hard at all. Samuel's smile was very forced. Even as a powerful demon king, he still had to act according to the situation. He wasn't the undefeatable demon in hell anymore. He was just a weak projection with a heartless master like Chen Zhao. The other demons still had to survive in hell, so they had to respect him. Chen Zhao didn't have to though. He didn't care about Samuel's opinion at all. Demons still had to bow down in the house. You guys, tell him my rules. You, come tell me that human Chen Zhao hadn't gone downstairs yet. He turned around and Samuel immediately corrected himself. Master's rules. Risfar planned on living in a hotel for a few days, so Chen Zhao brought him to the hotel room. Then he gave Risfar another checkup. No matter what, Risfar had gotten hurt because of him. Chen Zhao owed him big time. He felt guilty too. Johnny, rest well. I'll visit you tomorrow. Okay. When Chen Zhao got home, he finally let out a relieved sigh after the eventful day. The first thing that Kitty Samuel did after entering the house was to mark his territory. From now on, this is where I will sleep. Chen Zhao and the other friends all looked at him, speechless. You really know how to choose places. Chen Zhao looked at him. What, is this not allowed? Samuel still looked at him proudly. Fine. If you want to sleep there, then sleep there, Chen Zhao said, not caring. He turned to leave. Raymond, that human's tone is odd. Is there something special about this place? Chapter 333 A Demon King's goal should be to destroy the world. Chapter 333 A Demon King's goal should be to destroy the world. King Samuel, it's a pan used for frying. What's frying? It's basically a place where humans make food. What? I just picked a place where humans make food. Samuel's fur stood up again. Calm down. Calm down. King Samuel, Raymond quickly comforted. Fine, follow me to check out the place. Samuel chose another place. How about here? King Samuel, this is where humans defecate. Here. It's a fridge, a place where humans store food. Suddenly, a carton landed before Samuel. As if it was his instinct, Samuel immediately jumped into the carton. Huh? What happened? Samuel looked at Chen Zhao. Who? Master, what spell did you cast on me? Why did I jump into the carton uncontrollably? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Indeed, whenever a demon turned into an animal, it would automatically possess the relevant instincts. It'll be your home from now on. What? This tattered box. It's a humiliation to my identity. But it seems you like it a lot. I'm hungry. Chen Zhao found a milk bottle. Faith had left it here and Chen Zhao had nothing better to give to Samuel at the moment. In the courtyard, Chen Zhao lay against Princess, looking at Samuel sucking the milk bottle which was half his size. Samuel, have you never been to the human world before? No. By the way, I heard from the other demons that whenever you demons come here, you'll contaminate the human world. Since you're a demon king, you should be able to do the same, right? Didn't I contaminate that region when I arrived? All the humans were contaminated with my wrath. And then the principals came and suppressed my power. But why did you become so weak? I'm a weak projection, I agree. Beelzebub and the rest are also subordinates of the 7 sins, but they're not as weak as you are. The stronger a demon's true form is, the more he will be suppressed. As an analogy, if a normal soldier enters a hostile country, the country may send a soldier to arrest him. However, if it's a general, the hostile country will send an army. Your power is to make people angry, right? I'm the great Samuel. Do not think I'm that simple. Chen Zhao threw a small ball out and Samuel instantly leaped at it. Human. You. Huh. Master, what spell did you cast on me? Why couldn't I control myself? You said you're not simple. What other abilities do you have? I'm the only demon king that can grant power to others. Even in the human world, my power is limitless. How? Show me. Samuel began to stare at Chen Zhao, and Chen Zhao also waited patiently for Samuel's power to act. However, after a long while, nothing happened. Excuse me? My power can't affect you, Samuel sighed, discouraged. You're a strange human. Can you cast it on Princess? Of course. Samuel looked at Princess, who was behind Chen Zhao. Suddenly, Princess stood up and a fierce look appeared on her face. Is it working? Yes. Every individual has a certain threshold, above which he or she will be devoured by fury. So there's a side effect. Chen Zhao patted Princess's back. Only then did she calm down slowly. To be blunt, Samuel's power was like a stimulant. His power could stimulate the target, increasing his or her power for a short duration. However, if he used too much power, the target would lose control emotionally. Wrath would consume all rationality. Feels so useless. Chen Zhao twitched his lips. What? You said my power is useless? Yes, very useless indeed. Not as useful as Beelzebub's or Raymond's ability, or Carrie's, or even the sloth power of Amorn Beria. Tell me who your enemies are. I'll go and kill all of them now. I want to prove that I'm more useful than all of them. I don't have enemies, and I also don't need you to kill anyone for me. I'm a doctor. Can you think of a way to apply your power to medicine? Fine. Maybe I can't help you to save people, but I have many large demons under me. They can help you. Please. I can't summon them, and even if I can, it's their power, not yours. They're my men. Their power is my power. How do I summon them? Why don't you become my believer? Become a believer of the King of Wrath and you shall receive indefinite honor. I'll grant you power like you've never seen before. Chen Zhao finally received his first normal demon. What should a normal demon be like? He should aim to either rule the world or destroy the world. Samuel was unlike the other demon pets Chen Zhao had, who only knew how to obtain free food. Why do you want believers? Isn't it obvious? The more believers I have, the stronger I will be in the human world. If I have a sufficiently large pool of believers, the entire human world will be mine to rule. By then, you'll be my spokesperson. How's that? Did catnip destroy your brain already? What's catnip? Chen Zhao took out his phone. Farley, when you come back, go to the supermarket and buy a pot of catnip. Do we have a cat? Picked up a little cat on the way. Soon, Farley came back. When she saw Samuel, she could not help but display her maternal love. She grabbed Samuel and kept rubbing him. Human, save me, quick. This woman is so scary. Help me. Meow. Chen, look, he likes me. How did you tell that he likes you? Chen Zhao criticized silently. Nevertheless, he was happy that Farley liked Samuel. Farley, did you buy catnip? Yes, it's in the car. Go and take it. Indeed, Farley had bought 2 big pots of catnip. As Chen Zhao carried them to the courtyard, Samuel moved. He struggled away from Farley's embrace and rushed to the catnip. Immediately, his face was filled with enjoyment. It'll be amazing if my true body can experience such superior enjoyment too. Just as expected, even a demon king could not resist catnip. Chen Zhao thought that Samuel might have just become the first demon king addict. If you really want, I'll bring some for you the next time I visit hell. You can go to hell? I need someone I know to summon me from there. Oh, I get it. Take a token from you and then summon you with it. Should have thought of it earlier. Chapter 334, Winnip's Invitation. Chapter 334, Winnip's Invitation. Mr. Chen, the frame and main body of your house is complete. Felwood was calling Chen Zhao. You can come take a look when you're free. Okay, I'll come when I can. Farley grabbed a bear and joined Chen Zhao in Princess's arms. Ever since Princess came to their family, she became their personal sofa. Nothing was softer or bouncier than her body. Who called? Mr. Felwood, Chen Zhao said. Our new home is almost done. How soon is almost? In about a month. Chen Zhao thought about it. Only interior design was left. 1 more month. Farley was a bit let down. No matter how this place was, it still wasn't their home. We're almost there. We'll have a new home soon. Chen Zhao thought that it was about time to ask Bant about ordering furniture. Just then, his phone rang again. Hello. Chen, it's me, Winnip. Winnip, good evening. Farley glanced at him. Why was her mother calling Chen Zhao? Is Farley beside you? Yes, do you need to speak to her? Just turn on speakerphone, Winnip said. Hi, Mom. It's almost your dad's birthday, Winnip said. Are you two free on the 18th? Farley glanced at Chen Zhao, who immediately nodded. Yes, I'm free. We'll go visit Sacramento for a few days, Farley said. Sacramento was where the California state government was. The headquarters of Winnip's supermarket chain was also located there. After hanging up, Farley looked at Chen Zhao, asking, Chen, are you sure you have time? Of course. I promise. Chen Zhao hated Laurent. If possible, he obviously wouldn't go celebrate Laurent's birthday. However, he was Farley's father. So what if Chen Zhao hated him? Sacramento was only 600 kilometers away from LA. It was only a 1-hour flight. If they drove, it wouldn't be over 7 hours either. Should we drive there? Farley asked. This way, we can bring Princess and the others. If we go by plane, we'll have to leave them here. Sure. Chen Zhao nodded. Oh, I think we should get a driver. Driver for what? Drive the car, obviously. This way, we can play in the back. Who would be willing to drive for us? Faur, obviously. She can be our driver. Since it's your dad's birthday, she has to go too. Oh, that's a good idea. There were still a dozen days before Laurent's birthday though, so they weren't in a hurry. Next day. After Farley went to work, Chen Zhao first went to the hotel to check on Risvar. He'd recovered quite well. After all, Chen Zhao cared for him personally and used his special ointment. After that, Chen Zhao went to Ukla. When he reached the pool, someone came out hurriedly and crashed into him. You're okay? Cantor froze when he saw Chen Zhao. Oh, it's Mr. Cantor. Are you ready to pay me back? Chen Zhao smiled, but inside, he wondered what Cantor meant by you're okay. I'm busy. Don't have time. Cantor looked like he was in a hurry. Looking at his back, Chen Zhao narrowed his eyes. This guy was a bit weird. Just then, Norman's hit Chen Zhao's back. What are you standing there for? Procrastinating again? Chen Zhao shook his head. Come on, let's start today's practice. Lee had already changed into her swimsuit and had been waiting by the pool for a long time. Swim 10 laps as a warm-up. 2 hours later, Chen Zhao brought over 2 servings of food. He'd prepared it himself. Of course, he'd also added some special ingredients to the food. Okay, this is your lunch. Chen Zhao placed it before Lee and Norman's. This isn't enough. Don't you know how exerting swimming is? Lee saw that her lunch was mostly fruits with a bit of meat and fish. This was definitely not enough for her. If she only ate this little, she would be exhausted by the afternoon. On the other hand, Norman's dug in without complaint. She was used to Chen Zhao's tricks. I don't have the energy to train. How do I train if I didn't eat enough? I'll continue training. If you want to eat, go eat by yourself. Fine. If that asshole comes back, don't say I went to eat. Just say I went to the bathroom. I know. Lee put on her jacket and ran straight out of the pool. She bought a bunch of snacks from the school supermarket and sat on the grass, ready to start. But as soon as she took a bite, she felt nauseous. What was going on? Why didn't she have an appetite? It must not be her taste. She switched to a sandwich, but she spat it out after a bite. She couldn't drink anything either. She couldn't eat any of the food. How could this be? Why didn't she want to eat at all? Lee wanted to cry. She'd spent so much money on snacks and had wanted to eat happily. In the end, she couldn't eat anything. Just as she was about to throw it all out, Beelzebub ran over, drooling with his tongue hanging. Lee was pushed down. Princess had crashed into her from behind. All of the food was scattered on the ground. Soon, Chen Zhao's pet army started their robbery. Lee turned around and saw Chen Zhao standing there. Why are you here? I didn't eat anything. I know. Back to the pool. Start training again. After returning to the pool, Eve Lee felt extreme hunger, extreme hunger. Seeing her get in the water, Norman swam over to her. Did you feel like you couldn't eat anything and then get hungry after you get back? Yes, what's going on? You feel this too? No, I don't, but I know this feeling. That asshole put something in our food. If we eat behind his back, we'll feel nauseous if we try eating anything. But as soon as we leave food, we'll feel hungry. We can only eat what he agrees to or forces us to eat. In the end, Andibel really asked the gang to help, but he disappeared. Cantor had no idea what had happened to them. They went to take some goods for me. Now they have the goods, but I can't find them. Can you tell me what you asked them to do? I asked Andibel to beat an Asian up. Oh, what kind of Asian? A lecturer in the college. Is it done already? No. I met that Asian today. He's still fine. Cieli Dirk thought about it. It seemed that his people had yet to beat the Asian up. Where's Andibel? He didn't come to the college today. Cieli suspected that his men had colluded with Andibel to pocket the goods and then disappear. Call Andibel now. Cantor called Andibel, but it did not go through. Boss, I can't get to him. Cieli slowly knocked the table with his finger, his face filled with some anger. Just then, Cieli's phone rang. Hello. Are you Cieli Dirk? Yes, and you're? Cieli frowned. He did not know why the person on the phone dared to call him by his name. I'm Manus. Manus, Cieli suddenly shivered. Which Manus? You got those guns last time from my men, Manus said. Cieli was shocked out of his wits. Why is it him? Why did he call me? Cieli did not recall having offended Manus before. Apart from buying guns from Manus' men twice, they had no connection with each other. Anyway, most of the gangs in Los Angeles would get their guns from Manus. Mr. Manus, how may I help you? Cieli asked carefully. Where are you now? You mean my current position? I'm in my territory, a restaurant at the corner of Sick District. Wait for me there. I'll be there in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Which means Manus is in Sick District now. Cieli guessed why Manus wanted to see him. To take his territory? It was very unlikely. Manus only had big businesses and would not be interested in his unprofitable district. So many gangs in Los Angeles were purchasing arms from Manus. Would he even need a territory? The answer was clearly negative. Furthermore, if he really needed a territory, he would not have informed Cieli. Is this really your car? Where'd you get it? Stole it. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Just then, Princess came down. Ah, bear or bear? Her name is Princess. Those two behind her are her kids. Ethan was speechless. She's huge. Princess's intelligence assured Ethan. He cared more about the RV. Chen, lend me the car and I can definitely get a young woman every day. Fuck off. I'll never lend this car or let you mess around in it. Then don't think about getting free food here anymore. Chapter 337, Heavy Spending. Chapter 337, Heavy Spending. It smells of angel blessing, Samuel said. Chen Zhao took the peace knot and Samuel touched it with his paw. The peace knot contains this woman's spiritual power. That's why she's so weak. Chen Zhao thought, could Li Qing be a physiognomist or something? The smell of angel blessing could be due to a spell. Li Qing had spent her own energy and spirit to make the peace knot, which could explain her current condition. Auntie Li, is this useful for you? When Chen Zhao took out an angelic crystal, Samuel immediately jumped away from his arms. Some surprise flashed across Li Qing's eyes. You want to give it to me? It must be precious. Auntie Li, take it. It's of no use to me anyway. Mr. Chen, this is very precious. Since you know what it is, You have to know its use. It'll be more useful in your hands. Take it. Li Qing's eyes glittered. She bit her lower lip for a while. All right, I'll take it for now. If you need it next time, come and find me. What's this stone? Looks pretty. Is it expensive? Go away, don't connect everything with money. Perhaps because Ethan's burger was the first food Chen Zhao had in America, he could not forget its taste, just like how he could not forget that Ethan had given him shelter. You eat half of my burgers every day. I'm leaving. Don't walk me out. Only a ghost will walk you out. Chen Zhao went to the Mirror Lake. Felwood Cisco's project was in good progress. When Chen Zhao arrived, he saw a preliminary white building standing by the lake. Nevertheless, there were still many workers entering and leaving the building. The main body of the villa had already been completed. The team only had to trim the surrounding environment, cover the place with greenery and finish the interior decoration. Unlike the main body, whose construction could be sped up with sufficient manpower and machinery, interior decoration could not be accelerated. Hence it would surely take more time. Mr. Chen, is this your van? Felwood was surprised by Chen Zhao's RV. After all, nobody would travel with an RV. However, he understood Chen Zhao at once when he saw pets of various sizes alight from the vehicle. Nevertheless, it caused him to reassess Chen Zhao's wealth. A person who could afford such an RV would definitely own no less than 10 million. Felwood brought Chen Zhao to the different parts of the site, explaining the situation to him. Soon, Bant also arrived. He introduced Chen Zhao to his business partner, Dunant. Chen Zhao heard that Bant and Dunant were born in the same year and had been friends since they were young. Bant was slightly bigger in size, while Dunant was somewhat short. Dunant was an excellent carpenter. Anyway, Bant praised Dunant very enthusiastically. Dunant had been a prop master in Hollywood and also done some wood crafts subsequently. After visiting the interior of the villa, Dunant and Bant began to discuss with Chen Zhao about what kind of furniture and decoration he needed, as well as the price range. Chen, you want a circular bed 3 meters in diameter in the master bedroom, right? Chen Zhao nodded. The master bedroom was on the 3rd floor and faced the Mirror Lake directly. The side facing the lake had floor-to-ceiling windows arranged in an arc. A rectangular bed would only destroy the aesthetic view. Thus, Chen Zhao felt that he could have a circular bed. The 3 meters diameter would be sufficient for Chen Zhao and Farley to play all they wanted. The custom-made furniture in the master bedroom alone cost over $10,000. The final cost of $130,000 also exceeded Chen Zhao's expectation. The cost was after Bant's discount. At the same time, Dunant also promised to make some wood handicrafts for Chen Zhao as gifts. Chapter 338, Teach Class. Chapter 338, Teach Class. When Normans and Eve Lee were eating, Cantor walked in. Today, he was covered in injuries and even had a cane. Mr. Chen, I'm here to pay you back. He finally learned that it wasn't easy to owe Chen Zhao money. His biggest mistake wasn't owing the money but being unwilling to accept the fate and cause a bunch of trouble for himself. He couldn't even stay in L.A. anymore. Cieli had announced that if Cantor appeared in L.A. anymore, Cieli would chop him up to feed the sharks. After Cantor left, Eve Lee and Normans looked at Chen Zhao with strange eyes. You beat him up? Nonsense. I don't do that kind of thing. I'm a pacifist. The girls rolled their eyes in unison. Pacifist? If this asshole was a pacifist, then Kim Jong-un could get the Nobel Peace Prize. After drinking, eating, and resting enough, the two stood up again to keep training. Okay. Normans, you first, 50-meter freestyle. Your record yesterday was 24:12 seconds. My best record is actually 23:98. Then put on your best performance. If your result isn't good today, I'll have you train more. Chen Zhao clapped his hands. Go now. Chen Zhao and Eve Lee both held up stopwatches. One person recording might not be accurate enough. Ready. Splash. Normans dove into the water, creating a pretty splash. She reached the end. Evely looked at the stopwatch, her expression changing slightly. 23.9 seconds, Chen Zhao said. How about you? 23.91. Evely couldn't believe this. With this speed, Normans could attend the Olympics with the national team. If she was lucky, she could even win gold. Of course, they were using manual stopwatches, so mistakes were possible. However, the error couldn't be more than 0.01 seconds. Normans slowly swam back to the starting point. How was it? What's my time? Your final time, 23.90 seconds. I improved that much. Normans was shocked. She knew that Chen Zhao's training was effective, but she didn't think it could be so obvious in only a day. Come up. Evely, go down. You take a break and try the 100-meter later. Evely took a deep breath and went to the diving platform. I'm ready. Ready. Splash. Evely didn't like Chen Zhao, but she was still serious about swimming. 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 laps. 7, 8. Chen Zhao and Normans stopped the watch at the same time. 8 minutes, 25 seconds. How much? Evely just got out of the water and couldn't hear clearly. 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Evely gasped. She was at 8 minutes and 40 seconds yesterday. Her best time was 8 minutes 38 seconds. She kept wavering around this time without any changes. But in one day, she actually reached 25 seconds. This was a miracle. Or was she just performing exceptionally well today? It was possible for athletes to perform extraordinarily, but the possibility was too small. This kind of speed was a professional athlete's level. You didn't give me any steroids, right? If you want to think that, I don't care. Chen Zhao shrugged. Normans, are you done resting? Yes. Next, Normans tested her 100-meter freestyle. It was better than yesterday. Yesterday, her time had been 54 seconds. Today, it was 53.90 seconds. The improvement wasn't as big, but she'd just done the 50-meter freestyle and hadn't recovered fully yet. Okay. Next, start training. Chen Zhao started giving out instructions again. Normans, practice kicking in place for 20 minutes. Evely, swim at a regular pace for 20 minutes. The two had different events, so their training was different too. Evely was much more cooperative in the following training. Chen Zhao also planned more things for them today. The training lasted for 5 hours. He didn't leave the pool until the medical class that Wright arranged for him in the afternoon. Chen Zhao didn't prepare any material. After all, he was only the substitute. When he walked into the classroom, there were only a dozen students there. Sir, did you walk into the wrong room? A student asked when Chen Zhao got onto the lecture podium. No, I'm the substitute today, Chen Zhao said. Your professor is sick, so I'm here in his place. It's about time, so let's start class. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Chen Zhao. You can call me Chen. Chapter 339, Cardiac Arrest. Chapter 339, Cardiac Arrest. The other students in the lecture room also guffawed. Nobody knew whether they were laughing at Chen Zhao's abstruse lecture or at the student who was sleeping on the floor. Wake him up, Chen Zhao said, frowning. You can sleep, but at least cover your face with a book. I'll lose face if you sleep just like this. A student approached the student lying on the floor and pushed him. Hoffman, get up. But there was no response. The student pushed him again. Hoffman, wake up. Chen Zhao frowned and walked forward. He lifted Hoffman's wrist and pressed his chest lightly. Immediately, Chen Zhao's expression changed drastically. Cardiac arrest. Does he have a heart disease? Quickly give him CPR. Evely shouted at once. She was clearly no longer in the mood to joke. The other students also surrounded Hoffman. The student who had pushed him earlier pulled his shirt open and was about to perform CPR. Stop. Chen Zhao stopped the student right away. He has had heart surgery before. Here's the surgical scar. From the angle and the mark, it should be left ventricular correction. Maybe there was a mistake during surgery and the endocardium's damaged, but it wasn't discovered. If you perform CPR, he'll die immediately, Chen Zhao said. Call the ambulance. Evelyn, get me my toolbox. Evelyn glanced at Chen Zhao, after which she walked to the podium and took the toolbox. Stand back. Don't gather around here, Chen Zhao shouted. At the same time, he took out a set of silver needles, found the correct acupoint and stuck a needle in. Puff. Immediately, Hoffman sprang back to life. The other students all exclaimed. Was a silver needle enough to save a person? It was a sequela of the heart surgery. Indeed, it was a very dangerous condition. The patient may die within a few minutes. However, Chen Zhao could wake Hoffman up easily. Surprise flashed across the eyes of many students. They were all medical students, after all, so they knew most of the medical principles. They also knew how dangerous Hoffman's state was just now. Don't move. Chen Zhao pressed Hoffman back onto the floor. You can't move now. Tell me, do you feel any discomfort while breathing? Hoffman nodded with some pain on his face. Is it painful to breathe? Yes, Hoffman answered. Chen Zhao nodded. Did you have heart surgery in the last 6 months? Had left ventricular anatomical correction during the summer vacation, Hoffman answered. The students around them all stared at Chen Zhao. They could not believe that Chen Zhao had actually guessed it correctly. Actually, the biggest difference between Chen Zhao and the other students was that Chen Zhao was a real doctor, not a student. Chen Zhao had seen many patients and done countless practical treatments before. There were only a few possible causes for Hoffman's cardiac arrest, including sudden heart disease, surgery sequelae, and poisoning. Chen Zhao knew these, so did the students. The difference was that Chen Zhao could notice it. None of the students had noticed the obvious surgical scar, indicating how inexperienced they were. Don't breathe too hard. Maintain your breathing rate. You will definitely need endocardium repair surgery, Chen Zhao said. But don't worry, the surgery has a very high success rate. Also, you might want to ask the doctor to control the amount of anesthetic during surgery. You can't take too much anesthetic now. Of course, if your surgeon is experienced enough, he or she will know it. Just then, the paramedics arrived. Chen, why are you here? Faur looked at Chen Zhao in surprise. I'm a lecturer here, Chen Zhao answered. You? Lecturer? Faur's face was filled with disbelief. Why? Is it strange? Forget it. What happened here? Is the student all right? No, Chen Zhao told her Hoffman's condition. Thank God you're here, or he would probably be with God now. His condition, endocardium damage after surgery, is very dangerous. I've met at least 8 patients so far, but none of them made it to the hospital. All right, get him into the ambulance. Don't keep him lying on the floor. After Hoffman was sent away, nobody dared to belittle Chen Zhao anymore. Chen Zhao had proven that he was a very good doctor. All medical students would clearly like to become doctors if possible. Chapter 340 Only my followers can enjoy fried chicken. Chapter 340 Only my followers can enjoy fried chicken. Meow, meow. Samuel stood around the flowers and reached out a paw. Humans, become my follower and I will bestow upon you endless riches and glory. Give the food in your hands to your master. What a cute kitty. What breed is it? Good boy, eat this. Meow, meow, meow. Very good. It seems that you've all pledged loyalty to me. You will become my first group of followers. Go and spread my belief. Samuel waited until his 3 followers left before jumping onto Chen Zhao's table. Chen Zhao was sitting at the Open Sky Cafe right now. Samuel strode proudly. Master, did you see? I already have 3 followers now. This is the first step to conquering the world. Yeah, good, keep going, Chen Zhao replied dismissively. If you beg me, I'll share my food with you. Samuel looked proudly at him. Chen Zhao glanced at the drumstick in Samuel's mouth. You can enjoy it by yourself. You really don't want it. The crispy golden skin, mesmerizing fragrance, and tender taste are definitely the best experience of the human world. Chen Zhao didn't doubt Samuel's true form's strength as a demon king. After all, he'd witnessed how strong superior demons were. As a demon king, Samuel was definitely stronger than Beelzebub, Zophie, and Oris. But he was just a bit ignorant, like a total country bumpkin. When I rule the world, I'll send out an order that only my followers are allowed to enjoy this thing. It's called fried chicken, Chen Zhao reminded. Oh, fried chicken. Finish it. We're going to the hospital. Tim, your son is in a quite dangerous situation. He's already in the surgery room for emergency treatment. What exactly happened to Hoffman? He underwent ventricular malformation correction surgery half a year ago. However, his intraventricular membrane still has its own muscle memory. This caused his membrane to not grow according to the post-surgery ventricular shape. A blockage was formed. Didn't you tell me that Hoffman's surgery was successful? And now you're telling me about these weird side effects. Tim Walsh couldn't understand at all. He just wanted to know if his son was in danger or not. Sir, this can't be predicted, the doctor explained. No one can predict things like a muscle's long-term memory. Let me ask you this. Will Hoffman leave the surgery room safely? I'll try my best. I don't want your best. I want your promise. If I don't get good news, I'll throw you into Somalia. The doctor lowered his head. I'll go perform surgery now. He didn't dare go up against Tim Walsh. He is a top billionaire in America. He even had a share of this hospital. If Tim really wanted to send someone to Somalia, no one would be able to save them. Just then, a red-haired beauty walked over. Tim glanced at her, dissatisfaction filling his face. Miss Raidra, you're too late. I'm sorry, Mr. Tim. Hoffman has always been getting care under your orders, but now he's in danger again. Can you explain? Raidra was troubled. Sir, you must understand that Hoffman was born with abnormal ventricular growth. The surgery from half a year ago was a success, but he still can't exercise like regular people. His heart was fixed artificially and is actually still weak. The treatment I gave Hoffman can only help him avoid most dangers. It isn't absolute. I pay you $20,000 per month for absolute safety. No one can promise anything absolute, Raidra said matter-of-factly. I'm only his health consultant. I can only give suggestions instead of treating him directly. If I can be 100% sure, it won't be only $20,000. It'll be $200,000. If you can ensure my son's safety, so what if it's $200,000? Just then, the light above the surgery room turned red. What does that mean? Tim asked. Raidra looked at the flashing red light. Her expression seemed unnatural. Two doctors in white coats entered the room. Miss Raidra, what's going on? An emergency, Raidra said, expression grave. How much of an emergency? Critical danger. It's very rare for an accident to happen during surgery and need the help of other doctors. Are you saying that Hoffman is in danger? Raidra nodded. A lot of danger. Open the door. Open. I want to see Hoffman. Open the door now. Tim, this will disturb the doctors from helping Hoffman. Raidra pulled Tim back. Tim paced anxiously outside the room. The seconds ticked by and he grew more anxious. Miss Raidra, so much time has passed. Hoffman should be okay, right? Raidra didn't answer, which pissed Tim off. Answer me. Mr. Tim, what do you want me to say? Something that can assure you? The more time that passes, the worse it means for Hoffman. A long surgery isn't only dangerous for him. It's also burdensome for the doctors. Tim was even more unsettled. How much longer will it take? Raidra wasn't the doctor. How would she know? Finally, 3 hours later, the door opened. The doctors and other staff walked out. Doctor, how is Hoffman? The main doctor pulled off his mask, revealing an apologetic expression. Mr. Tim, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. I asked you, how is Hoffman? My condolences. You asshole, what are you talking about? Explain. Tim lost control and grabbed the main doctor's collars. Sir, can you calm down? This is a hospital. I'm the biggest shareholder. I'll say whatever I want. Tim roared. I want to hear good news, so you tell me good news. How is Hoffman? Everyone could see that Tim Walsh was about to go crazy. Chapter 341, Dead People are covered with white sheets. Chapter 341, Dead people are covered with white sheets. Chen, how come you're here? Faur asked. I came to see the patient in the vegetative state, Chen Zhao said. Let me bring you there. Wait Leaders was still lying in bed, his cheekbones visible. After all, he had been living on nutrient injections and had not been exercising. He had lost almost all of his body functions. Even if he could wake up, he would need a long period of rehabilitation. His daughter, Suma Leaders, was not present. Chen Zhao heard that Suma had been working for more than 14 hours a day to pay for her father's hospitalization and treatment. This human's soul is damaged, Samuel said. If you can't restore his soul, he'll sleep forever. Chen Zhao was surprised. Damaged soul? That's right. There are traces of magic where his soul is damaged. It's probably caused by a spell. Spell? Was it Blackie? Blackie might have damaged Wait's soul while practicing sorcery on him. This could explain why Blackie had asked Chen Zhao to treat Wait. Do you know Blackie? You mean the soulbringer at home? Yes. What will happen when a soulbringer harms a human? If a soulbringer kills a living soul, the soulbringer will lose the number of lives that is equal to the amount he has taken away. A soulbringer typically lives for no more than 500 years, so normally they will never harm a life on purpose. Chen Zhao gave it some thought and asked, what if Blackie caused this? Will Blackie receive any punishment? No, at least not before the man dies. Damaged soul. Is there a way to heal him? Chen Zhao asked. Heal his soul. How? Use soul fragments and then cast soul heal, but you can't restore his lost memories. Teach me soul heal. I don't know it myself. What? You're a demon king. Why don't you know it? Why would I know such an inferior spell? Do you think I even have a target to cast the spell on? I only kill. Then what's your use here? I don't know it, but my subordinates do, Samuel said. Fine, at least you're slightly useful, Chen Zhao said, twitching his mouth. Summon me to hell, for I need to learn the spell. I want 10 chicken drumsticks and 10 pots of catnip. Deal. When will you summon me? My true form in hell doesn't even have a token from you. Can't summon you yet. What can I give you as a token? Just something that you use frequently. Let me bring it back to hell. I'll find one when I get home, Chen Zhao said. Chen Zhao left the ward. Faur was waiting for him outside. Are you done? Yes. Do you have a solution? He has no relation with you. Why are you so concerned? Suma is in deep pain. If you can wake her father up, it'll be a great relief for her. I can't promise anything, Chen Zhao said. With Suma's financial condition, I don't think she can hire you. When you met each other last time, she didn't seem to know you. Why would you help? I have my reasons. Forget it, I won't ask. You won't tell me the truth anyway. Chen Zhao and Faur approached the vending machine and Chen Zhao inserted a few coins. You want a beverage? Faur ordered a cup of coffee. The two sat along the aisle. Your dad's birthday is on the 18th, right? Huh. How did you know? Winnip called me yesterday. We plan to spend a few days in Sacramento. You want to come? I need to look at my schedule first. I'm not as free as you. Just then, they heard an abrupt voice. Trickster. Both Chen Zhao and Faur were stunned. They lifted their heads and saw a red-haired lady standing before the vending machine. Is she referring to you? Faur asked in surprise. Chen Zhao looked at the red-haired lady. She looked familiar, but Chen Zhao could not recall where they had met. You can't remember? I was Mr. Rasva's health consultant, and I was fired because of you. Chen Zhao slapped his head. You're Raidra? Raidra gave a cold humph, took her beverage and left. For looked at Chen Zhao. Looks like she hates you a lot. Maybe because I snatched her client. Chen Zhao helplessly shrugged his shoulders. Why did she call you trickster? Why would I know? We've only met once. Even Chen Zhao himself was baffled. Don't tell me there's something else between the two of you. You know, she looks pretty. You're too imaginative. Chen Zhao smiled and shook his head. I should leave. Just then, a trolley with a white sheet on top was pushed past Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao was already used to it. It was a hospital, after all, and corpses were common. Who? Master, what's that? Dead people are covered with white sheets. But that person isn't dead, Samuel said. Not dead. Chen Zhao was puzzled. Are you sure? Yes, I can hear his weak breathing and feel his complete soul. Chen Zhao chased and caught up with the trolley. Sitting along the aisle, For saw Chen Zhao run back and asked, What happened? I want to see this person. Chen Zhao stopped the trolley. Just then, Tim Walsh and Raidra also walked over. What are you doing? Tim Walsh roared in anger. His eyes were red and there were some tear marks on his face. Mr. Tim, he's a trickster, Raidra said. Tim Walsh approached Chen Zhao. What are you doing to my son's body? Sir, I'm sorry. I just saw him move. Chen Zhao found an excuse. Hoffman's dead. His doctor has already confirmed it. Are you trying to do something to a corpse? Raidra said. But I can understand it. As a trickster, as long as you can get money, you won't mind using a dead person. For looked at Chen Zhao. Chen, maybe you saw it wrong. Sir, are you sure you don't want another examination? Chen Zhao asked. Tim Walsh was somewhat hesitant. He turned his head and asked Raidra, You know him? He's a shameless trickster. Ms. Raidra, you keep saying I'm a trickster. Who did I trick? You're an illegal doctor, Raidra said. Chen Zhao shrugged his shoulder. I admit I'm illegal, but it doesn't mean I deceive people. Chapter 342, Dead or Not? Chapter 342, Dead or Not? What are you arguing about? Hoffman's main doctor walked over. He says that Hoffman is still alive. Tim Walsh still had a shred of hope. The doctor shook his head. We've already checked. Hoffman has died. His heart has stopped more than 10 minutes ago. The doctor glanced at Chen Zhao. I don't know what your motive is, but I diagnosed him personally. He's already dead. Did you hear that? Raidra piped up. Tim, even the doctor says so. I still hold my viewpoint. He's not dead, but he's indeed about to die. Chen Zhao glanced at Tim. Sir, if you're willing to let your son live, then please give me and him a chance. Tim looked at him with glimmering eyes and then hesitantly glanced at Raidra and the doctor. Just then, Faur spoke up. Sir, I trust my friend's judgment. Miss Faur, please consider your standpoint. Dr. Cleet, isn't it clear enough? I support my friend. Faur glanced at Tim. Sir, please give my friend a chance. Give your son a chance. You really can save him? Tim obviously wished that his son was still alive, but he didn't want his son's body to be insulted. Chen Zhao looked at Tim. Then he pulled back the white sheet. He discovered that the boy was the student that he'd given emergency treatment to in the classroom. He reached out and pressed hard on the Tsushin acupoint. Everyone saw Hoffman's finger twitch. He's alive. Hoffman is still alive. He's still alive, Tim Walsh cried. My son is still alive. He's still alive. Raidra and Dr. Cleet's expressions turned dark. I need a surgery room, Chen Zhao said. Sir, Cleet said. He can't be saved. He was just pushed out of the surgery room. His ventricular malformation correction surgery failed, causing severe internal bleeding. He has no hope. Perhaps you gave him temporary muscle reaction, but that doesn't mean he's still alive. I need a surgery room, Chen Zhao repeated. Hurry, get him a surgery room. Hurry, hurry. Mr. Tim, this doesn't follow the rules, Cleet said. Fuck your rules, Tim yelled. Get my son and this man a surgery room right now, or else get the fuck out of this hospital. Chen, room 9 should be empty, Faur said. But you better finish within 2 hours, because I have a surgery then. Push him to room 9, Chen Zhao said. When they got there, Faur asked, do you need my help? No. Chen Zhao shut the automatic door. It could only be opened from the inside now. Tim, why do you trust that liar? Raidra said, a bit frustrated. Yeah. It's just a simple muscle reaction. It doesn't mean that Hoffman is still alive. Tim sat by the surgery room's door without speaking. The depressed look still hadn't disappeared. Plus, that liar brought a cat into the room. Doesn't he know that the room must be kept absolutely bacteria-free? He doesn't even have any common sense. It's Chen's habit, Faur said. All of you shut up, Tim yelled. I don't want to hear any nonsense before the result comes out. Chen Zhao put on his gloves and reopened Hoffman's chest. There was a blood clot in his trachea. The surgery had failed, so the stitches were done quite carelessly. They didn't even use any gel. This gel was used after surgeries for wounded organs to recover and mend. It was a biological gel and most often used for gastric perforation. Chen Zhao first used soul shock to shock Hoffman's soul. Hoffman's eyes flew open. A suffocating feeling seized him instantly. Keep calm. I know you feel horrible right now, but you must keep going. Pretend you're underwater. Chen Zhao dripped a droplet of perfect crystal potion into his mouth. This drop was the purest life essence. It nourished Hoffman's body. He was still in pain, but at least it was bearable now. Go to sleep now. Chen Zhao hypnotized Hoffman and made him fall asleep. He also added in gel while giving Hoffman another drop of the perfect crystal potion. Energy, Chen Zhao urged. Hoffman's heart jumped abruptly. Just then, the clotted blood in his trachea spewed out of his nose as air started moving through. Instead of stitching him up, Chen Zhao checked Hoffman's heart. He realized that even though Hoffman's heart was beating again, it wasn't strong enough. For one, he was too weak right now. It was also because his heart was weak in the first place. This wasn't a problem that could be solved in a day. After ensuring that Hoffman's heart was stable, Chen Zhao stitched him up. He gave Hoffman another soul shock. The boy started panting loudly. Am I dead? Not right now. Chen Zhao patted Hoffman's cheeks. How do you feel? Kind of hurts. Chen Zhao squeezed Hoffman's fingers. Now. Hurts. Then he squeezed Hoffman's toes. Any feeling? Hurts. Good, you're out of danger, Chen Zhao said. Your bodily functions and nerve reactions are all normal. Thank you. Hoffman was still weak. His voice was very weak. You should exercise your body to strengthen your heart, Chen Zhao said. Okay, I should leave. Chapter 343, To a Father, It's an Amazing Day. Chapter 343, To a Father, It's an Amazing Day. Mr. Tim, he's gone in for almost 2 hours already. Mr. Tim, are you sure you want to watch a fraud disrespect Hoffman's body? By then, Tim Walsh was also becoming impatient. He was both worried and scared. What was happening? Was Hoffman dead or alive? Just as he was hesitating, the automatic door of the operating room opened. Tim Walsh saw Chen Zhao walk out. He immediately stormed forward and grabbed Chen Zhao's shoulders. How's Hoffman? At the moment, Chen Zhao was already very exhausted. His clothes were stained with blood. Chen Zhao pushed Tim's hands away. Before he could even speak, Raidra said, You better explain to Mr. Tim. Insulting a dead body is unforgivable, whether by law or by God. Chen Zhao glanced at Raidra, not in the mood to argue with her. He's very weak now. He needs nutrient injections, Chen Zhao said. What? Tim Walsh was still in a daze. Your son is alive, but he's very weak. Can you not understand English? You mean, my son is alive? Tim Walsh's eyes were filled with disbelief. Don't you want to go in and see your son? Raedra was even more incredulous. It can't be. Hoffman is dead for sure. He can't be alive. Tim Walsh charged into the operating room directly and saw Hoffman on the operating table. Hoffman. Dad. You're alive. You're alive. Great. It's an amazing day. Thank God. Dad. To me, it's not been an amazing day. Can you carry me away from this cold table? I don't feel good. Chen, well done. Faur walked Chen Zhao to the exit. Thank you for speaking for me just now. I wasn't speaking for you. I just didn't want a person to be murdered because of misjudgment. Faur looked at Chen Zhao. You look really tired. Can you still drive? Of course. I need to leave. See you. You sure you don't need a ride? No. Faur looked at Chen Zhao's back. She inhaled a deep breath, shook her head and walked back into the hospital. Just then, Tim Walsh found Faur. Dr. Faur, where's that Asian? His name is Chen. He's already left. Also, he doesn't like people to call him Asian. He's Chinese. Yes, may I ask where Dr. Chen is? He left. I want to thank him for saving Hoffman. He's an illegal doctor with no medical license. If the Department of Health finds out that he performed a high-risk operation without a license, he'll spend at least 3 years in jail. I can promise that he won't be sued by anyone, including the government. I'll help to convey your gratitude to him, but please do not disturb his life. That will be the best way to thank him. But I would like to thank him personally. No, please don't. Mr. Tim, it's just a coincidence. Raedra still did not give up. She hoped Tim Walsh could trust her that Chen Zhao was a trickster. However, Tim Walsh ignored her completely. Hoffman, how do you feel now? Somewhat better. After receiving a bag of nutrient drip, Hoffman had recovered slightly. Dad, the doctor just now asked me to exercise suitably. No, no way, Raedra immediately screamed. It'll only increase your heart's burden. Tim Walsh was also rather reluctant. Hoffman had been weak since young precisely because he was diagnosed with ventricle malformation. Nobody dared to let him exercise. However, someone had just told Hoffman to exercise slightly. If it was anyone else, Tim would curse the person directly. However, it was the person who had just saved Hoffman's life. Tim Walsh began to hesitate. While Raedra had been arguing with Chen Zhao, her ability was undoubtedly excellent. Before Raedra became Hoffman's personal doctor and health consultant, Tim Walsh had checked her background thoroughly. Raedra graduated from Stanford Medical School and was holding a master's degree. She was an internist and had been an actual hospital doctor for 3 years. Later, she became the personal doctor and health consultant for many upper-class people. Her medical skill was more than outstanding. I'll ask before deciding, Tim Walsh said. After all, it would affect his son's health or even life. Tim did not dare to make a hasty decision. Chen, are you home? When Faur returned home, she realized that the RV was parked outside, but Chen Zhao was nowhere to be seen. The pets were all at home and dinner was also unprepared. They were all starving. When they saw Farley, they gathered around her at once. Farley took out all the pet food. When she went upstairs, she discovered that Chen Zhao was lying in bed. Farley walked forward and saw Chen Zhao sleeping. What did he do? Farley did not know why Chen Zhao was so exhausted and sleeping in the evening. Usually, even after Chen Zhao had just run a marathon, he would be lively and energetic at home. Darling, it's dinner time. Chen Zhao opened his eyes slightly. Farley, I'm not eating. Are you ill? Farley took the thermometer. Chen Zhao did not have a fever. Nevertheless, she was still worried. Faur, can you come here? I think Chen's ill. Huh. When he left the hospital today, he indeed looked pale. He went to the hospital? Was he ill? No, he came to the hospital to see a patient. Also, he saved a patient who was already pronounced dead. He completed an operation that 4 specialists and 6 assistants failed to. I think he's just too tired. Faur looked at the sleeping Chen Zhao, still distressed. Faur, can you come here and check Chen? Soon, Faur arrived. When she received Farley's call just now, she thought that Chen Zhao's condition was quite serious. However, after some examination, she realized that Chen Zhao was very healthy, maybe even a bit too healthy. Farley, you let me worry for nothing. Chen's absolutely fine. Really? Chen's usually always very energetic. I don't think I've ever seen him this tired before. It's different. Usually he uses at most his physical strength, but he used too much brain during the surgery today. He'll restore after the sleep. You sure he's fine? Just rest assured. I'm leaving. Why don't you sleep here tonight? No way. Faur would burn in anger whenever she recalled that night. She had sworn that she would never, ever spend another night in their house. Chapter 344, True Strong determine the winner on the battlefield. Chapter 344, True Strong determine the winner on the battlefield. At night, Farley felt a hand touching her. She opened her eyes to see that Chen Zhao had woken up. Chen, what time is it? Don't know. Chen Zhao moved Farley toward another direction. Farley wanted to both laugh and cry. This guy was a true asshole. He'd slept and recovered his energy, so now he wanted to mess around. He really couldn't wait a single second. He thought of doing this as soon as he woke up. However, after being teased a few times, Farley went from being passive to active. Did you recover? Yeah. Just a bit hungry. I'll go make some food for you. No need. I'll eat you first and then go downstairs to find food. You asshole. An hour later, Farley went back to sleep. Chen Zhao went to sit by the pool alone, munching on dragon meat. As the saying went, you could only go up by going down first. Chen Zhao felt like he was in great shape now. Both his body and energy were at their best now. Swimming pool. Meow. Why are there drumsticks in these girls' food? They're not my followers. Your thoughts are still stuck in the era of buying the ticket and then getting onto the bus. It's a different time now. There are new ways to get followers too. You should let them feel your blessing first. Then they'll learn to feel thankful and join you. Really? Yes. Look how happy they are while eating. So they're my followers now since they're eating the drumsticks. You want to get a follower just with one drumstick? You think followers are that cheap? They're not. It's far from enough. Chen Zhao glanced at the starving girls. They'd already started licking the plate. Normans, is that asshole crazy? I watched him talk to that cat the entire morning. Maybe it's smarter than you. Chen Zhao glanced at the girls. After eating, digest and warm up for 5 minutes and get into the water. This was their 6th day of training. Eve Lee was completely used to the intensity and method. The other swimmers there were used to it too. Just then, a dozen boys and girls walked in from the outside. They didn't seem to be members of the swim team. At least, Chen Zhao recognized most of the swim team after these days. These students looked unfamiliar. Each one had a satchel. A handsome guy with blonde hair and blue eyes put his bag onto the ground. Clapping his hands, he announced, "Friends of Ukla, hello. The pool belongs to us this afternoon. Please leave immediately. Thanks for your cooperation." "Oh, the ladies can stay." "Who's that?" Chen Zhao asked. "Don't know." Eve Lee shook her head. These people didn't seem like gangsters. Gangsters wouldn't come mess around in a college. The guy walked over to Chen Zhao. He looked at Eve Lee and Normans and then smiled like a gentleman, nodding. Finally, he looked at Chen Zhao. "Sir, can you please leave?" "No. Please cooperate. Don't you see that our team's girls are changing?" In reality, the girls that had come with him had just taken off their jackets. They were wearing swimsuits underneath them. "We came first and we're training. Plus, you don't seem to be part of the Ukla swim team. We're from UCSF. We received permission from the school to be here. It's not only today either. We'll be training here every afternoon from now on." "The school? Which school? Why haven't I received any notification?" Chen Zhao wouldn't back down for this. They wanted to practice, but Chen Zhao also had to train Lee and Norman's. Sir, I came just to notify you. Then hand it over. Hand what over? The paper announcement. Why do we need a paper announcement for this? So you don't have it? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Turning back to Lee and Norman's, he said, let us continue. Sir, let's not make a scene, all right? We have 2 professional athletes on the team. They need to maintain their fitness. We already communicated with your school before coming and received permission. I'm sorry, my students also need to train. Plus, there are 4 pools here, each with 12 lanes. It's enough for you. My students are professional athletes. Most of our training is confidential. Outsiders are not allowed to observe. Then you best come at midnight. There definitely won't be any outsiders at that time. Hey, you better not test my limits, the man said with a dark expression. Chen Zhao glared at him. Get the fuck out. The man put a hand on Chen Zhao's shoulder, but the next moment, he was in the air. And then he fell into the pool. Everyone froze, gaping at Chen Zhao. Did I see that correctly? That Asian threw Coach Eradicate into the pool? He threw Coach Eradicate like 3 meters out? You dare to hit me. Eradicate slipped out of the water. He wasn't hurt, but his ego was hurt. Kids, you see how UCLA are all a bunch of unmannered brutes, right? Show them UCSF's power. A few guys from the UCSF swim team immediately wanted to walk over and teach Chen Zhao a lesson. Just then, a shadow loomed over them. You guys better stop. Tiger grabbed one guy. Unless you're a professional fighter, you better not piss off Mr. Chen. Chen Zhao glanced at Tiger. He didn't expect Tiger to be here, let alone speaking up for him. The guys from the UCSF swim team calmed down too. They'd all seen Chen Zhao throw Eradicate 3 or 4 meters away. He obviously had unnatural strength. They couldn't beat him. I'm here to notify you, Tiger said. Our principal decided that you can borrow a pool, but not the entire place. Eradicate climbed out of the pool with a dark face and glared at Chen Zhao. What you looking at? Wanna fight? Eradicate looked away and said to his team, kids, let's go to the pool over there. We won't fight with them outside the meet. They're only a group of weaklings. True strength will determine the winner on the battlefield. Therefore, Lee and Norman's could not believe Chen Zhao's swimming speed. Nevertheless, they were using manual stopwatches, which might not be very accurate. Chen Zhao turned around and continued at the same amazing speed. 100 meters. 43 seconds. World record. He broke the world record. Lee and Norman's looked at the swimming Chen Zhao in astonishment. His speed almost did not decrease at all. 21 seconds for 50 meters, and 43 seconds for 100 meters. The extra 1 second was used for turning around. Chen Zhao's result was better than the world record, not by 0.1 second, but by more than 3 seconds. The timing obtained with a manual stopwatch might have an error of a fraction of a second, but definitely not 3 seconds. 200 meters, 1 minute and 28 seconds. Another world record. Lee and Norman's looked at each other. He's a real monster. 400 meters, 3 minutes and 1 second. Another world record was shattered by Chen Zhao. Apart from the 50-meter freestyle, Chen Zhao had shattered the records for freestyle, including 100m, 200m, and 400m. It was not hard to imagine what furor he would stir up if he appeared in a competition. Without exaggeration, if Chen Zhao became a professional swimmer, it would be the end of the world for the other swimmers. Chen Zhao did not just break the record by a bit but destroyed them entirely. He broke the 100-meter record by 3.5 seconds, the 200-meter record by 14 seconds, and the 400-meter record by an unbelievable 40 seconds. When Chen Zhao reached 700 meters, he sped up instead of slowing down. The 800 meters were finally completed. Chen Zhao reappeared on the surface. Did I win the bet? Lee and Normans looked at their stopwatch, 5 minutes and 58 seconds. It was a result that could only be achieved by a beast. They felt that their stopwatches were both broken. Chen Zhao's speed for the last 400 meters was even faster than the first 400 meters. He's definitely not a human. You won, Lee said unwillingly, deleting the timing on the stopwatch. Chen, what's the fastest speed you can achieve? Dunno. Was your speed after the dive your fastest? About there. I didn't use all my strength. Chen Zhao was even holding back. After the training, Chen Zhao left the swimming complex. Just as he exited, he saw Tiger outside. Mr. Chen, excuse me. His past opponents couldn't compare with Chen Zhao's speed and power. Tiger, if you're used to this force and frequency, I can make it harder. How about it? Mr. Chen, this isn't your limit. Tiger couldn't believe it. I'm coming. Watch out. Up, down, left, right, left, right. Thud, thud, thud. Tiger's cushion produced a string of explosive sounds. He withstood it for a minute before calling a timeout. I need a break, he said. He must say that he'd learned a lot from practicing with Chen Zhao for this short while. He couldn't improve by fighting with opponents weaker than himself. He could only improve and get a clear idea of himself by fighting with stronger ones. An hour went by quickly. Tiger could barely lift his arms anymore. He took off the protective gear with difficulty. Thank you, Mr. Chen. I'm going now. Chen Zhao hugged Tiger. To Tiger, this was an extremely hard practice session. To Chen Zhao, it was only a comfortable warm-up. Eradicate brought his students to his friend's gym. Douglas, you look like you got stronger. Eradicate hugged Zanla Douglas tightly. Zanla Douglas let go of Eradicate and looked at the swim team members behind him. These kids are your students. Yes, they're the elites of our swim team. Eradicate introduced all his students. Are you Mr. Zanla Douglas? One of the students recognized him. You're the one who won the golden belt at the WBA All-American Fighting Championship last year? Haha. Kid, you watch the fights. Zanla said, laughing heartily. He was obviously happy to be recognized. Of course. I really liked your match. Mr. Douglas, will you attend this year? Of course. Not only WBA, but I'll also be in the World Boxing Council and International Boxing Federation competitions. My goal is to get the golden belt in at least 3 events. Next year, I'll go to the WBO and WBPF. I'll try to get all the golden belts in 3 years. Douglas, you should have no matches in the boxing world now, right? Ha! I can't say I'm undefeatable, but I'm in pretty good shape. Chapter 347, Princess's Punishment. Chapter 347, Princess's Punishment. Douglas, how about a drink tonight? Sure. Dobby, do look after the center. I'm going out with my friend. Of course. Just leave everything to me. Mr. Douglas, our coach was bullied by someone at UCLA today, a student suddenly complained. Huh? What happened? Zanla Douglas asked, confused. Hobby, that didn't happen. During training today, our coach was thrown into the pool by a UCLA swimming coach. Did all of you just watch the person bully your coach? Someone from the boxing club stopped us. He said that the swimming coach is as strong as a professional boxer. Professional boxer? Is he? I've been quite free recently. When will you bring me to him? Zanla Douglas said, not bothered. He had fought all the good boxers in the entire United States. What could Ukla possibly offer? What makes a boxer professional? Those so-called professional boxers who do not have a professional boxing license are all self-proclaimed. Countless boxers have failed the assessment to become professional. Great. I'm looking forward to the match. I've never seen a professional boxing competition up close, Eradicate said, smiling. Chen, I heard Tiger hired you as his boxing coach for yesterday? Evelyn asked. Yep. How much did you charge him? 3 sessions for 3 days, 30,000. What? We paid 200,000 for 10 days. Why did he only have to pay 30,000 for 3 days? I train you at least 4 hours a day, which means 40 hours in total, but his lessons are only 1 hour each. So your price is actually lower. Perhaps I should have charged you at the same rate as him. Forget it. Ignore me. Evelyn already had a hard time squeezing out 200,000 to pay Chen Zhao. If Chen Zhao were to charge her at Tiger's rate, she would probably need to ask her family for money. Alright, let's start the training today. Chen, why don't you teach me boxing? 10,000 per hour. You want it? Stingy asshole. I don't have time to waste with you. Quickly, change to your swimsuit. 4 hours later, the training ended. Chen Zhao changed his money-making arena to the boxing club. The training today was getting beaten. Of course, Tiger would attack and Chen Zhao would get beaten. Punch harder, harder. Did you not have breakfast? Or both breakfast and lunch? Tiger realized that no matter how much force he used, Chen Zhao would not move an inch. This is strong enough, but it's boxing. Who can you even hit after charging your attack for 10 seconds? The previous day, Tiger realized that he could not withstand Chen Zhao's attacks at all. He had to rest after a few minutes. When he got home, he even had to use some medication. Now it was his turn to attack, but he could not move Chen Zhao, regardless of how hard he tried. Coach Eradicate, he's in the boxing club now, practicing with that black man yesterday. Okay, I knew they know each other. I've asked around. That Asian has a 1-hour lesson for today, as well as yesterday. How long have they been boxing? More than half an hour already. Douglas needs more than half an hour to reach. Looks like today's not the day. I'll ask Douglas to go early tomorrow. After hanging up the call with his student, Eradicate called Zanla Douglas. Douglas, are you free tomorrow afternoon? Yes. Can you go to the Ukla Boxing Club tomorrow at 2? Will the person who hit you be in the boxing club? Yes. Alright, got it. I'll be there tomorrow. Tiger, that's the end of the session, Chen Zhao said. Mr. Chen, how strong do you think I am? Tiger asked. Quite strong, but not top tier, I'm afraid, Chen Zhao said frankly. Mr. Chen, have you fought with a top-tier boxer before? Yes, once. How big is the difference between him and me? He can hurt me. Tiger was speechless. Fine, I'll work hard. Have a good rest today. Tomorrow, we'll have a proper fight. I will. Tiger asked again, Mr. Chen, how strong is your heaviest punch? You don't want to know. Chen Zhao recalled how he broke Gaia's punching machine last time. He felt that his strength had grown significantly since then. It was pointless to let Tiger know his strongest punch because their difference was too big. Chapter 348, Nitpicking. Chapter 348, Nitpicking. Chen, Princess didn't flush again. Can you do something about it? She eats so much but doesn't know to flush the toilet. Look at Walter and the others. They don't eat as much as her, but they've learned to flush the toilet long ago. Chen Zhao clutched his head. Lock her up in the bathroom for a night and make her flush the toilet 100 times. Then she'll tear the bathroom apart. This isn't our home. Are we really going to tear the house down before we leave? Time goes so slowly. There are still 20 days. It's not that slow. When we visit Sacramento for a few days and come back, it'll be about time. Farley nestled in Chen Zhao's arms. Oh, what gift did you prepare for Dad? Haven't decided. Do you have suggestions? I can't think of anything either. Farley shook her head. How about we give him a grandson? Chen Zhao asked with an evil smile. His hand was already touching Farley inappropriately. You're so bad. If my dad knows about this, he'll definitely hang you on the wall and practice hunting. More and more schools' swim teams started coming to the Ukla natatorium because the sports competition was in 3 days. It was also Chen Zhao's last day training Evely and Norman's. He didn't torture them anymore. Chen, Norman's asked. You aren't going to test our improvements? You're not competing. Why do you want to test? Then what about Evely? She's going to compete. She'll know her improvements by then. You can explain everything. Norman's glared at Chen Zhao. It was just because Chen Zhao was lazy and didn't even want to test them. Take it. Evely's and my payment. Norman's handed Chen Zhao a $200,000 check. Adding on the $100,000 prepayment, he'd made $300,000 in 10 days. This check was pretty much enough for the electrical equipment of his new home. $300,000 was enough for a regular house with furniture. Even $100,000 would be enough. However, Chen Zhao planned on installing a home monitor system AI, in other words. Of course, it wouldn't be like the kind in sci-fi movies. It could only do some simple things according to the owner's words. The price of the equipment and installing the system would be at least $100,000. Chen, will you come to my meet? Evely asked. Which day? Second day of the entire competition. There are still 4 days. It's at 3 p.m. Okay, I'll watch you compete. Chen Zhao left the pool. He was about to go to the boxing club when Wright called. Hi, Wright. Chen, come to my office. Okay, coming. Chen Zhao hung up and called Tiger. Tiger, let's push our fight back half an hour. The principal called for me. Sure, I'll wait. Right. Chen Zhao knocked on Wright's door. Come in. Chen Zhao sat comfortably in Wright's office. What's wrong? You've been training Tiger in boxing these days, right? Yeah. Is there a problem? Tiger told you about taking a break from school to participate in the professional competition, right? Yeah, he told me about that. Chen Zhao didn't understand why Wright was asking this. Do you think it's suitable for Tiger to enter the professional circle? Chen Zhao considered this and answered, it's not a question of suitability but whether he wants to or not. Chen, Tiger's grades are pretty good and this career has a certain danger to it. His family isn't rich either. He's not rich. Chen Zhao was shocked. But he promised to pay me $30,000. Where will he get that from? He competed a few times before and has a part-time job, Wright said. It's probably his savings from these years. Technically, the school won't stop a student from chasing after his dreams, but we must also consider their future and life. With his grades, he'll definitely find a good job in the future if he graduates. But if he enters the boxing field, he'll be nothing if he can't perform well. That depends on the school's definition of success. Chen Zhao could feel Tiger's love for boxing. Neither you nor I have the right to stop a young man from chasing after his dreams, right? If you wanted me to persuade him, then you've found the wrong guy. Tiger was already an adult. He had the right to plan his future. Of course, he also had to bear the consequences of his decisions. Whether good or bad, he had to face them. Thud, thud. Tiger was hitting the sandbag, warming up for the match with Chen Zhao later. After these 2 days of practice, Tiger knew that Chen Zhao was definitely at a higher level. This didn't mean that he would give up. It was the best chance to get a clear idea of his own level. He wouldn't give up on it so easily. Just then, he heard a voice behind him. Your coach isn't here today? Tiger turned around and saw that it was Eradicate. Why are you looking for him? He looked behind Eradicate and saw that he'd brought many people. If you're here looking for trouble, you better get out. Otherwise, I'll throw you all out. Just then, a big guy standing in the back took off his hat. You mean you'll throw me out? Tiger froze, looking at the big guy who was similar in stature to him. You're Xanla Douglas? Shock was written all over his face. You said that you'll throw me out, didn't you? Xanla said. I didn't know you're here, Tiger explained hurriedly. I wasn't targeting you. Who was Xanla Douglas? He was the top figure in the professional boxing circle. He'd won the golden belt at last year's WBA and participated in 19 competitions throughout the year. He'd KO'd the opponent 12 times. As for Tiger, he was only a newbie. But they're my friends. You're insulting my friends. Xanla Douglas' aggressive attitude showed Tiger that he hadn't come to be reasonable. So what do you want? Apologize to my friends or fight a match with me, Xanla said. Chapter 349, Tiger's Future. Chapter 349, Tiger's Future. Sure, Tiger agreed readily. Everyone in the boxing club stared at him. The other party was deliberately provoking him. He had no reason to reject and no path to retreat. The two wore their boxing gloves and entered the ring. Let's confirm the rules first. We don't need multiple rounds. Let's fight until a person falls. Tiger frowned. Was Xanla Douglas planning to have a death match? Usually, there would only be death matches in underground boxing. Nevertheless, Tiger did not flinch. He felt that he was strong enough. He did not know if he could beat Xanla Douglas, but he was confident that he would not lose too badly. All right. The two touched each other's gloves, indicating the start of the match. None of them attacked rashly. After maintaining their 1 meter distance for about 10 seconds, Tiger made an exploratory punch. However, Xanla Douglas' defense was very tight, not giving Tiger any chance. While Tiger did not manage to hit Xanla Douglas, when he touched Xanla's arms, he could feel some movement. It felt very different from his training with Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao felt like an immovable wall. On the other hand, when Tiger attacked Xanla Douglas, Xanla would move back. His defense was clearly weaker than Chen Zhao. This gave Tiger some confidence. Perhaps he was not as weak as he had thought. Tiger began to attack Xanla actively, but he immediately realized that it was a mistake. Xanla Douglas sneered in his mind. Tiger was new, after all, and took the bait so easily. At the instant Tiger attacked, Xanla Douglas accurately hit Tiger's chin with an uppercut. Right away, Tiger took a few steps backward, his teeth almost all broken. It was a very powerful punch. Xanla Douglas used all his strength. Indeed, his punch was more than 100 kilograms heavy. If a normal person was hit, he or she would almost certainly have a concussion. Tiger was still in confusion and unable to react. Xanla Douglas attacked again. This time, he punched Tiger's eye. Below the ring, Eradicate smiled and said, "Ha! What a weakling. That's Mr. Douglas. He got the gold belt before. This big guy thought that he can fight with Mr. Douglas just because of his size. What an idiot. Mr. Douglas once KO'd a 2.05 meters boxer in one punch. The people from UC San Francisco were all gloating. On the other side, the UCLA students were very worried. Tiger's gonna be killed. Douglas is too strong. Tiger can't possibly win. Tiger should surrender now. He shouldn't be persisting. Actually, it was not that Tiger did not want to surrender. He could not even speak now. Xanla Douglas was way stronger than him. Tiger could not open his mouth. There was no judge in the match, and so nobody to stop the fight. Tiger's face had long deformed and his consciousness was also blurring, his body about to collapse at any time. He was still instinctively protecting his head with his hands, which had already lost their function. Eradicate made a throat-slash sign at Xanla Douglas. A ferocious smile appeared on Xanla Douglas' face. After charging his attack for 3 seconds, his fist landed on Tiger's arms. Crack! Everyone heard the sound of bones cracking. Tiger's arms deformed entirely as he fell backward and hung on the ropes, losing consciousness. "You're so weak." Uninjured, Xanla Douglas stood before Tiger. "I've just finished my warm-up, and it's already over. What a boring match. Is there no one in Ukla who can fight? Ergat scanned around him as if he had just won the fight. Those originally indignant members of the boxing club all avoided Ergat's eyes. They were furious, but they were not stupid. They did not want to become Tiger, who had almost been crippled. A student from UC San Francisco was holding a DV and said to the submitted students, "Come, friends from LA, smile. Say loudly that you're all wimps." Chen Zhao was standing at the door with a cold face. "So you didn't run? You still dare to appear? Why did you hide until now?" Ergat looked at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao walked past the crowd. He entered the ring and carried Tiger onto the floor. At the moment, Tiger had already entered a deep coma. One of his eyes was blind, all his teeth were crushed, and he even had comminuted fractures in both arms. Judging from his injuries, his career had ended before it even started. He needed at least 3 years to recover, not to mention that one of his eyes was blind. It was too cruel for a young man. "It's you." When Zanla Douglas saw Chen Zhao, the arrogance on his face vanished. "I heard that you want to have another fight with me," Chen Zhao said. "I just had one. I'm tired." Chen Zhao glanced at Zanla Douglas, after which he said to the student holding the DV, "Come here." "What? You want to beat me up? It's no longer your territory. Mr. Douglas is right here. I want you to turn the camera to your hero, Mr. Douglas." Chen Zhao said emotionlessly, "Douglas, if you don't want to fight with me, fine. Just kneel down and admit that your dog's hit. Asian, you think I'm afraid of you?" Zanla Douglas roared. Chen Zhao took off Tiger's gloves, wore them and fastened them with his teeth. Then, he said to the students from the boxing club, "Carry Tiger down the ring." "Can Mr. Chen do it? He can't possibly win Douglas. Their sizes are too different." The members of the boxing club discussed softly. Nobody thought Chen Zhao could win. You all can come together and don't have to follow boxing rules. I wasn't planning on following the rules with you either. Ergat and the others had a shred of hope. After all, they had strength in numbers. Chen Zhao was alone. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't fend off so many people at once. "You said it. We have so many people. There's nothing to be scared of. Let's go." 3 minutes later, all the UCSF students were on the ground with bruised faces. Ergat's arm was broken.